She a little freak, she for the streets. 6 digits on the check, took it to the bank. Commas after commas, make it boy. Got a 10 coming over, only me to thank. Shooting blanks on a blank, make a girl. My wrist ain't peasy, pros can't please me, sounding too easy.
Hey, how's it going? My name is Steph. This is my channel, Cursed to Crushing It, where I review books and I rate them on a scale of cursed to crushing it in lieu of using a star system. I am so glad that you're here. If you're new here, thank you so much for giving me a chance, and if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. So I typically do a lot of bookish content, namely book reviews. Today I'm going to be doing a little bit of a departure, but I am still going to be staying very much in the bookish world because, if you are unaware, we as book girlies, romance fantasy girlies, we have been fed by the mother. We have news. We have such exciting news, in fact. Sarah J. Maas has gone on the Call Her Daddy podcast, a podcast that I have never actually watched before or seen or listened to. I am old, so in my mind, podcasts are only audio. So the fact that this was posted as a video on YouTube, to me, was exciting. I have watched this podcast before, so I do know what we're going to get into, but I thought it would be fun for this week to do a reaction to the Call Her Daddy podcast and to talk about what Sarah J. Maas has to talk about. So I am super excited. I know most of the bookish girlies, everyone's a girly, just mind you. I know that we're all very excited about this announcement that's going to be coming up on the that she's going to give on the podcast. She also talks a lot about her books, obviously, because she's an author. I wanted to get into some of the things that she had to say about her books as well. So just a huge warning right up front. If you have not read the entirety of the Sarah J. Maas universe, you will be spoiled. Okay, I'm sorry. That's just how it is. That means the entire Throne of Glass series. That means all of the published ACOTARs, and that means all 3 of the Crescent City books. I've only read a couple of the bonus chapters actually, so like the bonus chapters really have no bearing on anything here. You can come for me later. So anyway, yeah, I thought it would be really fun to do a reaction to this podcast, and I just want to test the waters a little bit. So hopefully this doesn't get taken down. I am going to be pausing this and talking a lot myself. So this should fall under the fair use law, and then this should also be transformative because you're going to have me in the corner pausing and talking. Yeah, let's get right into it. Okay. I'm deaf. We're going to have captions on. Let's go for it.
What is up, Daddy Gang? It is your founding father, Alex Cooper, with
I hate that so much.
Call Her Daddy.
Sarah J. Maas.
Okay, I think that we're going to need some headphones, actually. Let me put on my headphones.
Welcome to Call Her Daddy.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
This is I have never had more people asking me, okay, so if I buy my own plane ticket, could I just fly in and sit in the corner and just maybe meet her? And I'm like, stop it, guys. No, never had more people.
Okay. I feel like she has a lot of celebrities on this podcast. I feel like those are the only podcasts of hers that I ever hear about. So I feel like this is definitely a lie.
Same with you. My friends who don't give a shit what I do for a living.
I also find this equally hard to believe, Sarah J. Maas. You are one of the most transformative authors in your genre, and your friends don't care. I don't buy it.
Suddenly they hear I'm coming here and they're like, oh, I could be your assistant for the day. And have I told you how much I love you? And I'm like, I wish you guys could come, but at the same time, no.
At the same time, I don't want you to come.
We're merging our
You've made me cool to my friends who usually only see me in my ugly casual clothes. That's our dress code, ugly casual.
I am honored that you're here. I also want to give everyone
Sorry, I just messed with my mic. It keeps peaking and I really don't like it. But I think I'm just gonna have to talk really quietly.
watching I just want to say, spoilers could happen in this episode if you haven't read all of the series. So I would just beware. Don't come for me on social media if we talk about things that you're like, what do you mean? Like, just prepare yourself.
You guys have had plenty of time to read. Plenty of time.
Very true. Okay,
Okay, we have had plenty of time to read, and they are talking way slower than I want them to. Bump you guys up.
Are the best-selling author of Throne of Glass, Crescent City, and the ACOTAR series. You've broken publishing records. You have sold over 75 million copies of your books, and I am such a huge fan, and I'm so excited to sit down with you today.
Thank you.
Welcome to Los Angeles.
Thank you.
What are you in LA for?
I'm only here to be with you. You're the only reason that I would actually come to Los Angeles.
Do you come here often? You're like,
No.
Oh my god, are you so excited to be in LA? Oh my god, don't you love California? I'm actually here just for you. Sorry, this is business only.
We don't like LA.
Well, you know, we used to live here, so of course, like, I like LA, but like, I mean,
you're just here for this.
Oh,
I'm here
spoke too
just
soon.
for you, Alex.
I am honored.
Only
Sarah.
for you would I drag myself across the continent to Los
Thank you.
Angeles.
Thank you. Okay, if you are
Hilarious. Okay, tell me you don't like California without telling me you don't like California that much, girl. Same. Also, who has time to deal with LA? Ew.
on a plane, can you ever work on a draft, or it's like way too risky?
I'm on deadline right now, actually, working on something.
Okay,
but
so
I
you
had to work. I had to work, and then the worst thing was that like my husband, who was supposed to be helping with the kids, just takes a nap.
So you're writing and you're holding children,
and the kids are like, "Mommy, like, can you get me a new sparkling water? Like, Mommy, my iPad turned off." And like,
Mommy, can you get me a new sparkling water? Mommy, my iPad turned off. Tell me you are like rich without telling me you're rich. Your kids like sparkling water. I don't think I ever liked sparkling water until I was like well into adulthood. I don't know. Is that like a rich thing? I don't know. Speaking of drinks, we have a liquid IV. If you can't tell, I am like kind of sick. So, whoops.
Josh is just there like snoring. The dog's like sleeping next to him, and I'm like, "What is this? What?" I was about to throw a bucket of water.
You're like, "This is why my fans are mad at me, guys." Okay, I need to lock in and focus.
Yes, I was like, "There's like, we need to like get this. There's no time for naps, for spouse naps anymore." Yeah.
I feel like you're also known for your writing playlists.
Okay, yeah.
What have you been currently listening to for inspiration?
Weirdly enough, like I heard the soundtrack to the Rob Pattinson like the Batman thing, and like there was like certain like pieces in that just like spoke to me, and like so that was like kind of like the current thing. But then like, I mean, it's not really like inspiration, but like K-pop Demon Hunters, I'm still playing that nonstop in my house, and like even my 7-year-old son has been like, "Okay, like we're kind of over that," and I'm like, "We are never over this movie. We are never over the soundtrack."
Wait, that's when you know you've lost it. Where your kids are like, "Can we stop, Mom?" And you're like, "No."
I know. And I'm like pre-gaming in the shower, like listening to the
your
Golden.
Like, babe, we need to calm down.
Yes, no, like I bought the vinyl record.
Oh, you're
who is missing from this list, but Miss Taylor Swift. God, I feel like the more I learn about Sarah J. Maas, the more I like her because of the fact, and like this is just like another token, and like, yay, I like you a lot. She's not a Swiftie, one of the rare few that's not like a diehard Swiftie. Such a nice, refreshing break.
Sarah.
Yeah, and I play it when my kids are at school. I put it on. And I play it on repeat to the point where my housekeeper thinks I'm having like a mental breakdown.
Yeah. And the kids aren't there, so you really know you're in love.
No, look, it's my jam.
Okay, can you tell us like what is your ideal writing setup?
I'm not like a fancy writer. Like I don't like, I don't want to be in a cafe because like I like get very into my stuff. So like I'll be crying, like to feel what my characters feel. Like I have to like emotionally connect with them. So if it's like a devastating scene or just like a very emotional scene, like I will be sobbing. Oh my God. Yeah, like my husband has like walked into like my bedroom where I actually write in my bedroom, and he's like seen me just like weeping, and he just like quietly closes the door. He's like, "Yeah, we're."
Yeah, girl. When I read half of your scenes, my husband does the same thing because I'm also sobbing.
We're not
like a normal husband would be like, "Babe, are you okay?"
Yeah,
and he's like, "Got it, we're on."
Yeah,
the
he hears
chapter.
me like blasting like my like classical music movie scores, and I'm weeping, sobbing, like typing as fast as I can. And he's like, "Okay, yeah."
So the bedroom.
Yeah. So like I just have a desk in my bedroom. Like I don't know, like they say don't work in your like where you sleep, but like I don't know, it's like a cozy, happy space for me. Like when I'm in an
Yeah, Sarah J. Maas, that's not good sleep hygiene. I'm sorry. Like you need to not do that.
office, I'm kind of like, I don't know. It's not like my vibe.
Yeah.
Like I used to want to have like my own office, but now I like to have my own little like tiny cozy space, and like I keep a very tidy desk. But it's like covered with like crystals and like ridiculous things.
Naturally.
Like Labubu. I have a Labubu sitting in like a little like sun chair with like sunglasses on. Like it's
good vibes.
It is good.
Is your desk clean or is it covered in shit? Tell us.
I only things that bring me joy. That's what I put on my desk, but I keep it very tidy. But then of course I have like 3 coasters on my desk for like one for water, one for like a latte, and one for a Diet Coke. And they always need to be like constantly filled.
That's the
and then like
rotation.
space for Cheetos, which is the worst possible food to eat when you write.
You're like,
I know. Are you like a puffy or a crunchy?
I'm the flaming hot.
I've never had one. I've never had one. I'm scared.
I'm scary that I'm like, my husband's always like, why? And I'm like, I like it to burn.
Do you like spicy things in general?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
You've never had a spicy Cheeto, Sarah J. Maas? You only eat the cheese ones? Oh my god, you're missing out, girl. The flaming hot ones are really where it's at. Also, the puffy ones suck.
But
I've never had one. Now I kind of want to try
you
one.
need to try one. You need to tell me what it was like.
But like, is it like
It's a little painful, but like
I'm not selling this.
but it's like good. Like I
Okay.
like the burn. Like it
Okay.
keeps, when I'm editing my show, I'm like eating them, and I love the little thin ones, and I just like kind of take it and I'm editing. It's a vibe. I also was curious, like if you do go out in public and you do ever see fans, like what is the most common thing that people ask
I have a hard time believing that the host actually edits her own stuff.
you when they run into you?
People usually don't like ask me things. It's more like they just want to express like what the books have meant to them. So usually that makes me cry. But I'm also like such a nerd where like if I see someone in public reading my books, like I go up and say hi to them because like I want to say thank you to them because like all these beautiful like blessings I have in my life, the fact that I can like do this for a living is because of people reading. So like how can I not at least just like go up and be like I just want to say like thank you. But then like when I do that, like I think they don't believe me initially because again, normal Sarah covered in Cheeto dust, like I look like unwell on a daily basis. So they're like, I don't think that's actually her. And then I'm like, no, it's me. Like, look, I've got the
You're like a psycho being like,
it is me.
It's me. Look at my finger tattoos. I promise it's me, Sarah J. Maas.
You take to read my book, they're like, who is this?
Yeah, no. And so
And
like
they Google you and you're like, I think that was her.
But then I feel like weird. Like sometimes like I'll like if I see someone reading like especially the ACOTAR books and like I'll interrupt them. I'm like, what part are you reading right now? Like, and is that like your mom like walking in on you like when you're like watching porn or something?
No,
where I'm like, is that like a weird thing? No one's ever told me that. Like I've never like
it is. I cannot imagine if I was reading and I looked up and it was you.
would it be weird?
If I was reading one of Sarah J. Maas's books and I looked up and she was there, like if I was at an airport or something, it would be like seeing like the god of my universe, right? I mean, it effectively is. I don't know. I feel like I'd play it cool, but I'd probably be like, "Oh my god, you, this, that, yeah." I don't know if I'd be that cool.
For you, if I was
It
like,
would make it 10 times better.
if it was like a super smutty,
Wouldn't care because you wrote it. It makes
I
me
know,
feel-
but like it wouldn't like be like weird for like
No, I feel like I've walked into moments where someone was listening to one of my episodes that was like a more sexual one, and they're like, I'm listening to you right now. And I do the same thing where I'm like, which one? And then it's like a bonding moment. And it's between the girlies.
Yes.
Okay. There are obviously so many celebrities who absolutely love you and your books. Which celebrity fan has left you the most starstruck?
I mean, I respect like so many of these like women, especially. So like Margot Robbie's like Margot's become like one of my friends, and like I love like meeting her. I just like she was coming off the heels of like Barbie when we first met, and I just like it was amazing when she and I like first met up. Like we were at like a coffee shop in New York, and it was really really moving and inspiring to see how many young women came up to her, like not for a picture, not for anything, just to say thank you for Barbie and what that meant to me.
So
and like I
Of course, Sarah J. Maas is friends with Margot Robbie now. This is absolutely crazy. What is her life? Is she... Do you guys think that Margot Robbie is going to be in one of her adaptations for one of her series? Oh my god, I would love it. I think that Margot Robbie would make a terrific Aelin. Let's start a petition for that.
loved, and like that's kind of like the fan interactions that I have are usually like people saying things like that, and so like it was really cool to like just like I thought that was like the impact that Margot has had.
Actually, Margot might be a little bit too old for Aelin because Aelin's 17 when she first starts, I want to say. Margot would be a really cool Nesta or Bryce.
She's
like
amazing.
Whip, like she's just
I love her.
when I like describe her to people, I'm like she's as beautiful on the outside as she is on the inside, and like so smart, and like it's an overwhelming combination.
It
but
is.
she's a marvelous person.
Speaking of Margot, people are obviously dying to know what is going on with this potential ACOTAR TV series. Can you give us any update of like what do you think is happening?
So I have the rights back to everything now, and getting the rights back to all my things has been a big part of my journey.
Hell yeah, Sarah. Good job. We are proud of you. Get your stuff.
In recent years that like maybe at some point soon I will like talk more about.
Yeah.
But like right now, my focus is on books and like it's been a little while since like you guys have had something. So like I'm focusing on like that. But like I look at any TV movie adaptation as kind of like another facet of like the worlds that I've created. And it's something that I want to be in charge of. Like I want to be figuring out, like I want to be learning everything that I can. I'm like a type A like control freak a little bit, but like I want to know like everything about how it gets made, not because of that control, but just because I love movies, I love TV. Like I want to like be a part of that, and I want to see everything adapted the way I envision it and the way like I know fans want it. And like I don't ever want to hear like, oh, we need to change this to appeal to like XYZ demographic. I'm like, no, that's not how you make art. That's not how I create my stories. So like when I do it, like it's gonna be like
You're gonna do it.
me, and I will like dedicate like everything that I have to like making it right. But like it will be like I will be in there like, you know, looking at like
So if little things are problematic, just know that these are all her little brain children and that this is the art history of it all.
like all the design, but also like what does it sound like? Because music plays such a big part. Like so like I'm not just gonna like the music is gonna have to be like a huge project.
You'll
for
have
me.
to have understandably your hands on every single part of
Yes.
it because it's in your brain. Like you created this world, so to give it over to anyone else would be
No,
a
like I view it as
disservice.
like my legacy in a way where I'm like I put my books out into the world. That's like one way that the fans are like interacting.
On one hand, I respect the fact that she wants to be involved in this creative process. On the other hand, though, Sarah J. Maas, I like really encourage you to go watch like Twilight or something and learn from Stephanie Meyer. I guess that's just the best way to put it.
And seeing these characters, but like the physical version of that like needs to be aligned. It can't just be like someone's take on that. I'm like, no, this is
It's yours.
Yeah.
Have you seen the fans who have created like the AI worlds of
my
like
God,
the
no.
spring court
Oh
and
my
like
God.
it's
no, I have not.
I need to show you after. I
Is it
literally-
cool?
It is so incredible. And I'll be on TikTok watching and I'm like, honestly, they made Resand look like, I'm like, how are you gonna actually find a normal human being that looks like this?
I know. I sometimes like that's part of my problem. It's just, like,
Casting.
I don't and that's I'm not gonna like settle for someone because I'm like being pushed. I'm like,
No.
I need to find the perfect person and take however long it takes
Yep.
to find them. I have yet to find my perfect Reese. I don't really have like anyone in like, that's the thing. I have not found anyone. So I'm like, I can't like be forced to like
No,
pick someone.
It's
Like,
gonna happen when it's gonna happen.
it needs to be organic. It needs to be like something that comes from me.
Yes.
And
love
it's like
it.
something that I'm proud of, you know.
Okay, let's go back
Yeah.
because
I
to
gotcha.
anyone who isn't familiar with your full story, so your relationship with writing kind of started as a teenager, but there was a moment in 7th grade where you stopped reading because it wasn't cool anymore. What was it that made you feel that way?
Okay, first of all, we read the most boring fucking books. That like, and I was a big reader. Like, I loved reading as a kid. I loved fairy tales. I loved all of that. Like, I like all the Babysitters Club, the Boxcar Children, but we weren't reading that in school. And like,
Dude, those are classics. Babysitter's Club, Box Art Children. I wrote those too. That is such a throwback. I love that.
yes, we were exposed to like great writing, but it was so boring for me to be like quite honest.
Yep.
Like, just at that age, that like I was like, I'm done.
I'm
I'm
over
done
it.
with it.
And what were you like in middle school?
I was cool. I was a cool. I've like been through eras of my life.
That's pretty funny that she is able to just be like so confidently like, I was cool. What about it?
I'm turning 40 like very soon, and I'm having like a big girls weekend, or it's actually more like a week. I got a week out of everyone in the Bahamas, and the theme is Sarah's eras.
See, again, oh my God, just tell me you're rich without telling me you're rich. Oh, I'm just going to go to the Bahamas for a week with my girlfriends for my 40th birthday. Ugh, I wish I was her.
And
Okay, can you take us through those eras?
so this is because there have been so many versions of me. So middle school, Sarah was like all into like nails, makeup, like Backstreet Boys versus NSYNC versus Spice Girls. I was Spice Girls all the way, always.
Obviously.
Okay, yes, Spice Girls, yes, correct. And I was a Backstreet Boys person.
Obviously.
Always. But then I kind of had like this secret life in middle school where like every day I would like run home from school. Like I would chat with my friends and then like bolt down the streets of New York City to get home in time to watch Sailor Moon on like Cartoon Network every afternoon.
Oh my God.
And so like Popular Girl was a like anime freak, like obsessed with like Sailor Moon, like all this anime. And then like around 7th
She's named Sailor Moon twice. What is the other anime? I really want to know.
grade, I also got into like reading fantasy. Like I figured out like, okay, like there are books that I do like to read that like are like fairy tales and like, but for like grown-ups in a way. So like fantasy became a whole thing. So I was like hanging out with my friends, going to the bar and bat mitzvahs, like
Mhm.
dirty dancing on the floor,
Mhm.
and then like going home and like taping episodes of Sailor Moon on my VHS recorder.
So it all kind of started in middle school where you were
Oh,
like,
yes. Oh,
interesting.
yes.
I don't like the books in school, but I like these books that I
Yes.
found in this like fantasy world.
Yes.
And you started to kind of have an appetite for it.
Yes. And then like around the same time I realized like I didn't just want to read it, like I wanted to write that kind of thing and come up with my own like adventures.
Well, that's what's so crazy is when I was researching, I'm like, you started writing Throne of Glass at 16 years old.
Okay, so when I started writing Throne of Glass, I was in my emo Lord of the Rings phase, Sarah.
Legolas.
I don't understand how those two things are, at least like for me, those two things were like mutually exclusive. My love of Lord of the Rings versus my being an emo kid were like separate entities. They were not together, but go off, Sarah.
I still have my cardboard cutout of Legolas, and like Josh is weirdly threatened by him. Like he doesn't like to see him because like there's all these like stains around Legolas's mouth from like where like I used to like make out with him. Like
Sarah, this is
Yuck.
It's the worst and the best thing because I didn't go on a single date in high school. Legolas was my boyfriend. My 7-year-old, I told my 7-year-old son that once when he was younger, and he literally believes me to the point where we were watching the Lord of the Rings once, and he's like, "Hey, mom, look, it's your boyfriend."
You're like, yeah, that is.
Yeah, and I was like, I know. I was like, can you believe I left him for daddy? So sad. And he's like, oh, mom, to the point where like even now, like again, I don't really get starstruck, but like even now, if I saw Orlando Bloom, I would piss my pants, shit my pants, vomit on myself, like ovulate, like everything would happen all at once. I would.
You think that when she's describing like watery bowels or like any of her characters seeing someone they love and like losing control of their bodily functions, do you think that she's describing what she would just do when she sees Orlando Bloom? I have a feeling that that is exactly what she's doing. Also, this woman has such a way with words about bodily functions. I wish that she said less.
Like I would cry. I don't know. Every
wouldn't be
bodily
okay.
fluid would just come spraying out of me. I would not be okay.
Okay, but this all makes sense though, Sarah. 'Cause,
Ugh.
like, I was so curious. I'm like 16 years old. You start writing
hate
Throne of
that.
Glass, and I know that you like kind of trashed it eventually and rewrote the whole thing.
Yeah.
But still, to be 16 years old and have the wherewithal to create such a large, incredible world in your head and be able to pen to paper, that is really incredible.
Well, like so middle school Sarah was like cool,
Mhm.
had a lot of friends. High school I went to a different high school
Okay.
where I had to start all over again. And like high school Sarah didn't have many friends and like was not very happy, hence the emo Sarah. Like I mean full on like studded belt, the like plastic bands, like and like I was
Full on studded belt, plastic bands. Okay. Okay. You sound more like a scene kid. Sorry to tell you, Sarah. From an emo kid.
that kid that like had my headphones on like in the hall of school, like probably like very like just feeling like a fish out of water there because like I went to a very like posh
Okay.
Upper East
Okay.
Side.
I rescind that. Emo is a state of mind. You know, emo is like a state of mind just as much as it's like a fashion
High
statement.
school and like I was not
fine.
like a lot of the other kids. And so with my books and stuff, like I knew I wanted to write. I got like the idea for Throne of Glass and I wanted to write that as an actual story, but then the timing of it was like just perfect. Where like I was in a place in my life where like I just needed like an escape from school and life sometimes and like closing my door to my bedroom and like turning on like my like it was like one of those square iMac computers.
Yep.
Like I used like floppy disks for the first few drafts of Throne of Glass. But like that was like
That's a throwback. I haven't used a floppy disk in so long.
escape for me. It was like if things weren't going well at school or like at home or just like in general.
But it's so beautiful too to hear you say that like this was such a passion of yours, and then obviously you were able to turn that passion into your livelihood and your purpose. And then at 26, you finally publish and come out with Throne of Glass, almost 10 years after you came up with the idea, which I think like it's like a really hard.
That's like kind of incredible, that kind of dedication, honestly, to her story that like she started like 10 years before, right? Like clearly this is passion driven. You can tell when you read her books that this is very much like a passion thing for her and that she loves to do it just because of how the stories are written. There is like a special kind of dedication to sit and work with a story for 10 years before it actually sees the light of day. That's really special.
Industry to get into. Obviously, anything in publishing, it's close to impossible sometimes to get your first book published. Did any of your family or friends try to sway you and be like, Sarah, I don't know if this is the easiest path to go down for a career?
I got into a number of fights with my parents who I say this quite lovingly, but my parents are like New York lawyers. My mom was a judge. Like they're intellectual, but again, lovingly snobs. They, read the New York Times front to back every day. But like back, and my dad still insists on reading a physical newspaper.
So you're
my
different
parents,
from your parents.
so I'm very different. Whereas like I'm like page 6, baby. Like I'm like tell me all the hot gas. Like I need to know everything. And so like my parents are like, oh, did you read this analysis of so and so? I'm like, no.
Dude, honestly, same. When I was a kid and my parents would read the newspaper, all I would do is just look for like the scuttlebutt pages and stuff about like the gossip about what was going on around town, because that was far more interesting than like whatever was on the front page usually.
Oh, but did you see what she was wearing last night? And they're like, what is this? But so I was always like this changing alien child who was like into.
Although to be fair, if you're saying that your parents read the entire newspaper from front to back, they were reading the hot goss too. Why weren't they gossiping with you? That seems like a fun bonding thing.
The fantasy stuff. And my parents were great in that they always gave me an unlimited budget, like 4 books. They gave me the space to write. Like, they let me just go lock myself in my room for hours and work. But like once like college was kind of like wrapping up, like they're like, so what are you gonna do? And I'm like, I'm gonna be a writer. And they're like, well, most people, one, can't get a book deal. And like, my parents had friends who like, were either like lawyers in the literary world or like literary agents. And they're like, it's impossible. Like, you're not gonna get it. Like, and fantasy wasn't even like fantasy comes in cycles where like sometimes it's huge and then it quiets down. So like we were in like a dystopia phase. Like it was like the Hunger Games was kind of like starting to become like insane around then. So my parents were like you're publishing this, like you want to publish this epic fantasy thing, like, and who's paying for this? And you want to go move out with your boyfriend to Los Angeles and get a car and like all like you need to. So I actually considered like doing like an MFA.
You want to move to Los Angeles with your boyfriend and get a car? I feel like that's the most like New York part of that. It's like, you want to get a car? What?
Thing just to like buy myself more time. But I went to one like interview with like a director of an MFA program. And when she heard that I write fantasy, she literally went like that, like an actual like sound.
Bitch.
And you were like, bye.
I was like, we're done here. I was like, I'll sign a copy of my book for you one day. And I walked out and I was like, I'm not doing that. I don't need anybody to teach me what I've taught myself. Like I was a creative writing major in college, but like it was a very fun major to have, but it was useless for me because a lot of the classes were, or all the classes were geared towards writing short stories, poetry. And so like senior thesis time came around and I was like, I want to write a book. Like, and I also like want you to spend some time in our like seminar talking about like, how do you get published? Like, how do you get an agent? How do you get published? And like, it was like, it wasn't even...
Sarah, you're not allowed to learn real life skills in college, okay? That's how they keep you in the system. They're never going to tell you how to get out of the system.
I was the first person who would ever ask that. And I was like, I don't want to write short stories. I tried to argue with my advisor that I didn't have to take poetry because I would never write any poetry in my life. I was like, I can swear to you here and now I'm writing fantasy.
It's funny that she said this because I'm pretty sure there is, oh my god, I'm so sorry for this screenshot. I'm so sorry for this freeze frame, but I'm pretty sure that there is at least some poetry in like her books.
Books. I was like in the office, like 21 years old. I was like, I'm writing fantasy books and I will never fucking write a poem. So exempt me from this class. And he was like, no,
Like,
you have to take it.
works,
You have to take it. And like, I'm terrible. There's like mathematical component to poetry, like
Yes.
the meter and the rhythm and all that stuff that like Josh had to help. Josh was a math major and he had to help me with my homework where you like diagram out. And I was like, I don't understand.
Call Her Daddy is brought to you by Target. Daddy Gang, and a ton back plus series. So when I was talking to my friends about it, I think something that is quite literally the most mind-blowing thing that you have been able to do, and a lot of people are so perplexed by how you've done it, is all of your series converge in some way or another. But that must take years.
Yes, they fucking do. So if you have not read all of the series, this is why we are saying spoilers for all of them. Okay, if you've read all of Throne of Glass, I'm sorry, that's not going to cut it. Also, this is about ACOTAR. If you've read all of ACOTAR, sorry, that also is not going to cut it. You need all three of them. I know it's a lot. It's fun though, so like just go for it.
Years of planning. So can you try to explain to me how you have been able to have the foresight that all three of these giant series somehow overlap?
I mean, I don't actually know how I have the brain capacity for this because like on a daily basis, I'm like barely functioning. But I mean, like because I started writing so young, I was able to like figure out these worlds, these characters. And when I was trying to get published initially, like I had a lot of downtime, like waiting for like agents to respond, publishers to respond, and like writing's the thing that I love the most. So like I was always writing. So like during that waiting time when I was trying to get Throne of Glass published, ACOTAR came out of me. The first two books of ACOTAR like poured out of me in 2008, 2009, like whenever around then, like in like a 2-month span. The first book is very similar to what came out of me. I wound up rewriting this in few.
The first book is very similar to what came out of me. Respectfully, yeah, I can tell.
The ultimate like direction of it was of course the same, but like I've been, and then Crescent City was like a passion project for many years that I would write kind of to, this sounds cuckoo crazy, but like I would reach the end of a day having like edited like Throne of Glass or ACOTAR, and like I just was like done with those worlds and I wanted to go like play, and like at the time like there was not as much cursing in like my earlier books, so I was like I just want to write like fucking shit and damn it all the time, like and so Crescent City just started as something I did not have any intention of publishing it, and it was just on the side, and then as I was writing that I was like, oh, and like so I had all this time very early.
That's hilarious that she wanted to write that. Like the reason she started writing Crescent City was because she wanted to start cursing. And that explains why her characters in there definitely have a lot dirtier mouths than the characters in her other series that are published.
Even before my career really took off, to like have a vision of what I wanted to do.
Do you have like a map in your house to like be like, okay, this world? No,
it's all in my head. I mean, like I have notebooks where I write things down, but like the overarching like vision of it is all.
I wish I could live in your head for a day. That is crazy.
That's actually wild. She should try and write some of that down.
Crazy.
All you would hear is just Cheetos and Diet Coke on repeat.
And all these worlds bouncing back and forth.
Yeah, no, I mean like it's like it's very strange to have like all of that in your head because like I And it's almost like a separate thing where like I have like 2 kids now. So like on a daily basis, I'm like, okay, like what am I making them for dinner that's not like boxed mac and cheese? And then like I like switch between these modes where suddenly like I'll be able to put that away when they're at school, and then like the worlds expand again and I'm living in them.
It's like a muscle you have to flex when you get to sit back down.
Yeah, but then also like I sometimes like go back, especially with like the music that's inspired like some of the scenes in like the books, and just like I will listen to the music that inspired those scenes and relive those scenes, and like sometimes just like cry or just like and I don't even read what's in there. I just like relive that moment of like clarity where I saw it. And so sometimes in reflecting and going back, I'm able to think like, you know, like that moment really struck me and like stood out to me, like how can we pull that through in the future? And then like, but then sometimes I'm thinking like books ahead where like I'll write like one little line and be like, like this will come back.
Yeah, I can tell that you have that moment. I've had that moment reading your books too, Sarah. I hope that you are glad to know that that pays off.
And like, but then sometimes things line up too in like a really like cosmic psychic way where I have like crystals all over my desk. So I'm like, am I channeling like something that's happening in like like another universe? And I'm just like writing it down because it all lines up perfectly. Yeah, it's like sometimes where there was something recently like it lined up. Like I had not planned it, but it was like my subconscious or like some like human-wide psychic thing. Like I had tapped into it. It was like, you know, slow pitch over the plate for me to like, it was there. It was there. And I jumped out of my seat and like shut my computer and I was like, no, like we're done here. We're done. This is like too perfect. Like this is planned. This like I was like this came from not me. And I don't say that from like an egotist. I just literally I'm like,
that's like kind of crazy that on some level she is along for the ride for her own writing. Yeah, that's not how I've ever felt about writing, but I'm also not a writer like she is. So that is like super impressive. Go off, queen.
Like this worked out. It worked out like almost to like a like supernatural level.
This makes me so happy as a fan because I'm like, I was wondering like, how does this all go down? But now I want to talk about some of your female characters because I genuinely believe in the past, I do think that fantasy, and I think everyone knows this, like fantasy and that world was more dominated by male authors, obviously. And then you came into the game, and I think people really gravitate towards your work because of these really strong, independent, complex women that you are creating in these worlds.
Yes, absolutely.
One of your most beloved female characters in Throne of Glass is Aelin.
One of your most, I would say she is the most beloved. She's your titular character. Well, not titular. She is your main character. Yes, people love a main character. Come on. If you get through Throne of Glass and you don't like love Aelin on some level, or at least appreciate her on some level, I'm sorry, but like you read the series you read the series incorrectly though.
Did you want to communicate through her evolution?
Aelin came out of me and like there was no planned evolution. Aelin, in some ways, her journey mirrored so much of me growing into like I poured a lot. Like she's not me in any way, but like there was a journey, like a mirror journey.
She's not me, but also she's me.
There. And a lot of my books are like, and what my characters go through is in some ways like a mirror to things I've been going through. But like Aelin from the start just came out of me fully formed, kind of like Athena springing from Zeus's head, like that, and she just was there. And like I almost just let her lead the way, and like my life like paralleled it where I could understand it sounds like I had no control over her, but I really didn't. And I let her lead me where she needed to go, but also was able to like connect with her. Like I don't know, like there were just like moments in my life where I can like look back at those scenes in Throne of Glass and remember like what it was that inspired that scene, and not like play-by-play events, but just like a feeling. Like in like the Assassin's Blade like novellas, like there's like one of the later ones, like she's like out all night like partying and like just like watches the sunrise, and it's like that was like me like in college, like staying out with my friends, like having an amazing time at a party, and just like that feeling of like you're young.
So Aelin's a self-insert, but at the same time Aelin's not a self-insert.
And everything's beautiful and like you are immortal, and like isn't it amazing to be alive and like here, like that went into that. And so like those were the things when I was able to connect with her in those moments, like, and so I don't know, like, and then like her rage and her like her anger, I'm like I never got to see women being angry and bitchy the way I often felt. Like I always felt like everyone like had to be like sweet and nice, and like I was not those things. I was not any of those things. Like I was always kind when I tried to be to people, but like I had like strong feelings about things. Like I could fly off the handle at something, and I wanted to write about a woman that like didn't have to be appealing to anyone, and that like I did not give a shit if anyone reading it liked her. Like this was her. Sorry, like that was who she was, and like take it or leave it. Better, and like I wanted to let her make bad choices and learn from those choices and grow in the same way that like I also want.
This is a really interesting way, like this is really interesting that she's talking about Aelin like this. She does kind of, Aelin the character, she does kind of like break a mold for what you see of like a typical, at least like from first time, at least, yeah, like the time that this would have been published and before that, like usually you see these these female main characters, yeah, that are like really meek and that are like really regal and like very fair and kind to everyone. And Aelin was the first one Well, an alien was kind of, yeah, like a first in her class to be kind of an asshole to some people and to really be unlikable to some. So, like, that whole concept of you don't have to be liked to be cool. I don't know. Or, like, yeah, you don't necessarily have to have a well-liked character or like a really nice and kind and like typical feminine character for her to really hit home with a lot of people and with a lot of like her intended audience with the book.
Wanted her to have like different romantic relationships. Like I don't know like anyone that like has just been like I met this one guy and like we're in love and now we're getting married and that's it. Like no, like I wanted her to grow with that and take things away from those relationships. And I don't know, she just like as I was learning all of that stuff growing up and like you know like she was too. Like so there was just a natural mirror.
She was one of the first characters you ever wrote, so it's like to know that there was a mirror there, it makes sense. And I think it's beautiful that you were like, I literally don't care if anyone likes her or doesn't. Like this is who she is, take her or leave her.
Yeah, I mean that was the same like Manon in Throne of Glass. Like that was like an even more extreme version of it. I was like, she's just gonna go like with her nails and
She's
just
gonna
like
do her thing.
Yeah.
Dude, I love Manon. And yeah, she's another just great example of like, she doesn't care if people like her. She doesn't care if people don't like her. She is badass. She is powerful. And she is here to get things done.
You said you're drawn to writing women who can't kind of be placed in a definable category, which I love. As a woman yourself in this industry, what box have you felt like people have tried to put you in?
Oh.
You're like, oh, sweetie, how much time do we have?
I feel like I should have a sedative before I like completely explode. I just think in general, when a lot of people hear that I write romantic fantasy, you know, like as much as I love my like steamy, sexy, hot scenes, like this dismissal now of like smut, where I'm like, yeah, I write smut, like I love it, but like that's not what like my fans come up to me to talk about. Like like when they wanted to come thank me, like it's like yes, we giggle and laugh about like the hot scenes.
I'm gonna let her go on, but yeah, no, like this entire, like her stuff isn't about the smut. Let's just make that abundantly clear.
Whatever, but like they tell me how they left like their abusive husband after they read A Court of Mist and Fury, and like we cry over that. And so like the putting me into this box of like she just writes like really sexy stuff. I'm like, no, I love writing that stuff. I'll always be proud of it. Like, I mean, granted, like I was like copy editing a scene in Silver Flames once where it was like when Nesta blows Cassian at like the dinner table and my dad was visiting and I was like, I had like the printed out pages and my dad was like, what are you working on there? And I was like, oh my God. I was like, nothing, we're done. I'm not editing the scene anymore. It was the worst fucking thing.
You're like, Dad, please don't read this.
No, and like he insists on it. I'm like, should I rip out pages for you? But then like the sex, but that's the thing where I'm like, the sex sometimes is tied to the plot. Like Silver Flames, for example, like Nesta and Cassian, like they're having like hot sex and like bodily fluids are flying everywhere, but it is like intensely tied to their own emotional journeys and their own journey as a couple. And so like,
I feel like, oh, sorry, Sarah. Okay, much better. No, like I totally get that. And I feel like that has been like a huge discourse around like especially the ACOTAR series, but to a limited extent Crescent City as well, but really just Sarah J. Maas as a whole. Like when people hear her, they just like automatically equate like, oh, okay, so you read the sexy books. Oh yeah, you're just reading fairy porn. Like I've heard that multiple times. I literally had people ask me like or tell me. They don't ask, they tell. They say, oh, so you're reading the fairy porn book. Like, okay, actually, no, I'm not. You know, if you want to take a look at the book as a whole in like terms of number of pages versus like number of smut pages, like there's like less than 10 usually, maybe less than 20. I think Silver Flames, yeah, it's probably more fair to say less than like 25. However, let's take a look at Silver Flames, okay? You're telling me that this is gonna... Ugh. Oh, okay, don't judge me. I did get the Night Court edition of these because I'm an emo kid at heart and I really like the all black of it all. But anyway, okay, so this is Silver Flames, right? And like I have a bone to pick with this. This is why we're gonna like get into it. So what about Nyx? Okay. There's a bonus chapter in here. I didn't realize that. Okay, well, maybe we have some fun little homework to do. Okay, so the story itself is 751 pages. Okay, let's clock that. Can you see that? You probably can't see that. Whatever. It's 751 pages. Just take my word for it. So, okay, let's give the people that are calling it fairy porn the benefit of the doubt, okay? Like, whatever. So, in here, I would say it's fair to say that there are maybe like 25 total pages. with just straight up smut happening, like on page smut. Look at this. Look at this. So of the entire volume of the book, it is this little piece that I'm holding out here. And then the entire rest of this is like emotional journey, epic fantasy, growth as a couple, growth as individuals. Like, you're telling me that this is fairy porn because of the basic amount of sex in here? Like, I'm sorry. Have you seen Game of Thrones? Have you read Game of Thrones? That is so much more sexy. And I question, if people are like more I question if people that are more willing to accept sex in their fantasy books from men than they are from women. And I wonder if it's just because of the perspective, right? Like the sex that you see in male written scenes or in scenes that are written by men, it's just substantially different from the sex that you see written by women. And I would argue that the sex that's written by women is better in a lot of ways. So like, but also just, yeah, the fact that people just are so quick to dismiss it, like when women especially start talking about sex, it's like, it's so incredibly frustrating. And I wish that people weren't like that.
Dismissal of it, like it's just like smut, like whatever. I'm like, it's fun. I designed it to be entertaining, but it's also moving, and like I write like what I consider to be like cool shit that like means something to me.
I love that you just clarified that too, because I do believe it is such a double standard, obviously, with women, that like if you at all tap into
So I'm on the same page with the two of them.
sexuality or sex in any realm, everything else that you also are contributing in that category is completely dismissed, because people are like, oh, you're just writing like sex shit. And you're like, wait, no, that's like...
Yeah, no, we're not just writing sex shit, right? We're not just reading sex shit. We're reading about these people that are having a complex journey, like both emotionally and physically. And yeah, they just happen to be in this cool fantasy thing. And guess what? People, as part of their relationships, they have sex. And when you're in an adult relationship, you have sex. That's just kind of how it goes. That's what it is. Like, that's part of it. It's not all of it, but it's part of it. And so if someone decides that they want to write about sex and then to just immediately discount everything else that they might have contributed around the sex, to me, it just makes no sense. And it's extremely frustrating because I find that it primarily happens with women.
What? And so it's so frustrating, but I do believe in a gorgeous way. Like, if people took the time, that's also just a testament to people sometimes don't give a shit and they want to misunderstand you.
Yes.
If you take the time to understand these female characters that you're writing, yes, they have been so liberating for so many women. They have helped so many people, and it's been an escape for a lot of women, which you've done an incredible job with.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I think of it as like when I want to reread.
I love her shoes, by the way. Those like snake print shoes that she has going on. I'll pause it next time we see them. I love them. Also, these finger tattoos. I think I need a finger I think I need another finger tattoo. Sorry, I didn't mean to flip you off. I have a tattoo on that finger.
Books, like I'm not going to like the depressing, boring shit. Like I want to read books that make me happy, that have a happy end. And like if you want to read like those other types of books, fine, like good for you. But for me, like I want things where like I go on a journey, like I there's hot sex that I can like, dog ear those pages and like read all of that however many times I want. But then also like it brings me joy. And I find that there's a tendency for people to roll their eyes at things that bring joy and bring women joy, especially. And it pisses me the fuck off constantly.
Yes.
Same, girl, same. Like, yeah, no, it's like if a woman enjoys something, it suddenly just becomes less than, right? I feel this very acutely as someone that studies biology, or I don't study it anymore. Well, I mean, I'm always studying it, right? But like someone who does biology for a living and who decided to enter into the field of biology in school, I literally had someone, actually, I hope you're watching, Ben, who looked me in the eye in college and told me, you're only ever going to make 75% of what I could ever make because you're a woman. He told me that in college in 2014, 2015. Like, I don't know. To me, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but it was like 11 years ago. And I think about that a lot, and I actually want to punch that guy in the face. So Ben, I hope you're watching, and you suck.
And again, like you were saying, like anytime.
Also, like to be dismissed as a biologist because it's like more womanly, but there are kind of like, I feel, dick measuring contests, honestly, between different disciplines in science, and biology and life sciences more generally, they tend to have more women in them than other disciplines like chemistry and like physics. And oftentimes I would enter spaces as a woman biologist, so double whammy, and people would be like, oh, you do bio? Oh, that's good for you. Okay, just like go over there with the other elementary schoolers. I'm gonna go do physics like the big kids. And it's like, okay, well, like, let's just like back the fuck up a little bit, right? My biggest argument, and I'm gonna give it to you guys right now, of why we should respect biologists. Have you ever heard of an infectious disease? Have you ever heard of COVID? Have you ever gotten sick? Have you ever needed medicine? Guess who comes up with that shit? Biologists. Okay, I'm pointing to myself to represent biologists because I do biology. Make no mistake, I have not developed any medicines for anyone or done anything like that. I develop tests at work. That's what I do, right? So like, do you want to live? Do you want to have safe food? Do you want to have good medications? Do you want to have surgery? Do you want to have access to modern medicine? I'm sorry, you need biology, and therefore you should probably respect biology, at least a little bit. I mean, as one ascends through academia, especially in sciences, even in biology, which tends to be the most saturated with women of all of like the sciences, and of all of like the STEM kind of like hard sciences, people don't respect biology, and people don't respect women in biology. And then as you ascend, they just all turn into men. Women exit at some point. Like basically after grad school, like in the grad school to professor like continuum, that's where you see the biggest exit of women. And you see a bunch of men staying in there because women typically will get married and have children, and as soon as that happens, that is like career death for them. So like men are just geared and like set up to be more successful, and I hate it. And I feel like women are discounted so much just because of the fact that we have ovaries, we have uteruses, and we have the ability to make babies. Like, I'm sorry, did you want like a population on the world? Like, God. Anyway, that's getting beyond the point.
Like a woman, let's say she writes something and there's like even a little hint of sex that's not like fade to black or like, you know, very like artistically mentioned. It's like suddenly it devalues the work. And it doesn't matter what else is in that book. If there is some kind of like hot graphically, and I'm like, I don't understand though, because you're writing a thing that is so accurate to life, and sex is a part of life.
I was going to say, this is the commonality that all of us share in
Yes.
the world, is we all have sex. We all deserve pleasure.
Yeah.
And so if we continue to go down the path of women shouldn't write about these things or read about these things or talk about these things, then it really is still just a man's game.
Yeah,
So
it's very like Victorian almost,
Yes.
where I'm like, okay, like you're
Yeah, it's super Victorian, and women should be allowed to talk about sex. You know, it takes two to tango.
like getting into the nitty gritty of like, you know, what, like you're like Midwestern alcoholic. I'm like, what about like the sex? What's going on with that? Like that is a key part of anyone's life. I'm like, you want to have a mirror, like an accurate mirror, and you don't have to have sex, but it's just this idea that like having it there, again, devalues the work. I find it a little more than frustrating. But then it's also like anything related to women. Like I like watching like Lord of the Rings or like reading that like as a kid, like all these fantasy books like with all these guys in them.
there's like no women.
Well, I would think like, okay, like if I was there, like me and Legolas are running through the
Honestly, yeah, fantasy with like all dudes, I find kind of boring. Like unless they're doing something legitimately compelling, like in Lord of the Rings. Like, oh no, I thought Lord of the Rings was kind of boring. Honestly, when I read it, I like the movies, but the books, that's like its own deal. The fact that we spend like over 1,000 pages on this story and then we have 1 page of climax, yet we spend like 3 pages describing a tree. I'm sorry. Like, I needed more of a climax to that story. I needed the climax to last longer. I needed it to do like more than what it did, because I feel like we spent so long getting there and then it was just over and done with in a second in the book. And I was kind of big mad actually when I read that. And then like we immediately go on and we spend like way too long talking about the fallout from it, which like, yes, that's important. You need to like finish your stories, right? But like also I didn't really give a shit about that compared to our very, very compelling climax scene. So like, no, I felt gypped when I read Lord of the Rings.
Mirkwood together. Because I totally marry Legolas in my mind.
Obviously, Sarah.
Yes,
Obviously.
yes.
I'll give you that one.
I love Mirkwood.
Thank you very much. That's my #1 fantasy. But like I'm going on an epic fantasy quest in my mind. Like I'm like in Mordor. I get my fucking period. What do I do? And like I want to write about that shit. I'm like, that's like, I mean, it's not only like funny to me, but it's also like this is a reality. It's
This is
like
our life.
Like I'm like, and so like in my books, I'm like, I want to write about things that like, you know, the sex, the like, you know,
The real stuff.
like the
That is one thing that I like, that Sarah J. Maas books are kind of different for. She has bathroom breaks for all her people. Also, look at these shoes. Look at these fucking shoes. Aren't they so cute? And I love her nails. I have heard that there's like a whole Easter egg kind of thing going on here. I hope that like they're going somewhere summery because it looks like she has had like a nice tan and like had some nice highlights in her hair. It looks like she's been out in the sun. I'm hoping that this is like a whole Easter egg for that. But look at how cute these freaking shoes are. I'm usually not like a kitten heel person, but oh my god, these are stylish. I love them. And I love this color on her. It looks so nice. Also, I'm like trying to like get a closer look at all of her finger tattoos. I saw a snake. We have it upside down and a right side up triangle. And we have a crescent. We have a star on there. But she has like a bunch of them.
The real stuff where I'm like, what if you got your period when you were climbing the slopes of Mount Doom?
What would you do?
Like, are you free bleeding? Like, are you like, do you have cramps?
Sarah J. Maas is getting the hard-hitting facts.
I just want to know. Maybe some people don't want.
So these are not things that I think about, but I also have an IUD. So it isn't something that affects me in my day-to-day life. However, I think it's interesting, right? And it's interesting to cover the mundanity of things and to cover like the day-to-day of someone's life, you know, and to cover the things that we all kind of go through, such as going to the bathroom.
I know those things, but I do such a deep dive into the world of these characters that I'm thinking of like bathroom breaks. When was their last period? Like all of that.
I think it's so obvious though that although and we always hear the negatives, there's such clearly an appetite for what you've done. I also love how you talk about the real stuff, because speaking of the real stuff, obviously yes, your books are fiction, but like you are hitting very real, honest topics that you can kind of extract what you want to take from each. And I think there was a lot of online discourse.
What the hell is this stack of note cards? Do you think she's gonna go through all of them? That's kind of crazy. Also, I do like the color of this outfit that she's wearing. I'm like very about that. But also, why are you wearing like sweatpants and like an oversized sweatshirt and like you are sitting
Around
across
Feyre's
from someone
pregnancy in a court of silver.
in like legitimate clothes? She's wearing like house clothes right now. Why are you? Is this like part of the shtick? Like I'm not a fan of this outfit or this costuming, I guess, for her.
Flames, because I think a lot of people were frustrated, right? That she didn't have control or understanding of what was happening to her body.
I was one of those people. Yeah, I did not like Feyre's pregnancy. I thought, well, I mean, I thought that the whole thing, right? Like they all set it up. It's like, oh my god, the Fae can't get pregnant. Oh my god, Fae have like such infertility issues. Oh my god, it's so impossible. Like, you know, it's like Fae never have kids basically, and they have periods every 6 months or every year or something. Like Fae don't have periods very much, therefore they they can only get so many tries a year to have a child, and then on top of that they have a lot of issues just conceiving in the first place, so it could take them a long time to try and conceive a child. But then Feyre, the thing that was frustrating for me about Feyre was basically like the day that she decided that she was okay trying to have a kid was like the day that she got pregnant. Like it just happened immediately, and the way that they set it up, like that shouldn't have happened. I don't think. I think that there should have been like some struggle for her to try and have a child.
And her partner did, which we'll get to. But can you talk a little bit about why you chose to write her story that way?
I love my children. I am fucking obsessed with my kids.
This is not gonna go well.
Hated being pregnant. I hated it. It was traumatic for me every step of the way, starting with like when I was first pregnant with my son, and I was told by like this asshole of a nurse, like, okay, this is your weight and you can only gain this much weight while you're pregnant.
Rude. That is so rude.
And like as someone who's had like a history with like disordered eating and stuff, like being told like you're only allowed to gain between this much, like here and here, like this is all you can gain during pregnancy, it took every bit of joy away. Where instead of focusing on this beautiful baby growing inside of me, I was thinking about the food I was putting in my body. And then
yeah, that's pretty sad, but also like to have a healthy pregnancy and to like not gain excessive weight is actually really good for you and for your baby, so like go off. Also, this is a really good freeze frame on some of these fingers. So we have like a little carrot thing here. This looks like a sun. This is a crescent. That's definitely a snake. Triangle. What is this? This may be a leaf. And that might be a star. I don't know.
Constant tests and appointments where you're being like literally like having like probes in you, and like, you know, just like it felt very, and like I'm like the person where like I have to make myself go to the gynecologist, even though I love my gynecologist. I'm like I hate doctors. I hate waiting rooms. I hate all of that. I hate the interruption to my daily life. And so pregnancy was not fun. And then my son was born in an emergency C-section 2 weeks late. The people that I knew back then who had kids were like,
that's so scary. That's so scary. I don't blame her for being traumatized by this. I think it's really brave of her to have had a second child after having that experience.
Oh, like you don't want to take any of the drugs. Like you will like really hurt like the baby. And it's like the opposite. Like if you're a good mother, like you won't like take the pain medication. And so I was like, I came up with a birth plan. I had a doula. I had all
Who the fuck is around this woman? Oh my
this
god.
stuff planned out. And if that works for you, like that's fine. But for me, that was my way of trying to like control it. And then that day, I'm like, I'm told, no, like I have to have every medical intervention possible. I have to have an emergency C-section. But like worse than that, like I went into the hospital and I was told by the doctor who was going to like induce, she was first going to induce me. She's like, go have a big meal because you're going to be like, you know, pushing this baby out all night.
This is horrifying.
So I get to the hospital after having like a big dinner to prepare myself for labor. And then it turns out like I need to have an emergency C-section. But the doctor who is there is a man and he starts yelling at me saying, why would you eat anything? You can't eat anything. And I was like, your colleague literally.
Dude, that actually reminds me. So I had to get my wisdom teeth taken out when I was like in college, and I like the night before I got thirsty. It was right before my 8-hour window started or something, or maybe it was like right after. I was in a period where I could only have water, and it was getting close to the middle of the night. I woke up. I was extremely thirsty, so I went and I got a small glass of water so I could like sip on it without having like so that I was hydrated without you know, like having to reschedule my surgery. My mom got up in the middle of the night and she like flew across the house and was like, Stephanie, what are you doing? Did you just eat something? We're gonna have to cancel your whole wisdom tooth surgery. She was so mad at me. Like it felt like what she's describing with this doctor. And it's like far lower stakes for me, right? Wisdom teeth, like I could always reschedule it, right? This was like an emergency C-section for her. That was terrifying for me as someone who was not in an emergency situation. I can only imagine how terrifying and like traumatizing that was for her as a patient at the mercy of this man who's now yelling at you. That's, oh my God, unacceptable on his part.
Told me to go have a big dinner and come here. I did not know I was having an emergency C-section. I'd never had surgery of any sort in my life.
Yeah, dude, it's an emergency, okay? Like, you don't know that you're gonna have a fucking emergency. Jesus Christ, that's in the name. You'd think that this man would have have a fucking head on his shoulders.
Before this point, so like for me, even to be in like a hospital gown in a hospital, like I'm terrified. And then this man I've never met before, and like is telling me like this is what we are doing and like you did everything wrong and he's scolding me, so I'm already terrified. It's my first kid, I don't know what to expect. And so then they're like, okay, we're taking you back. And I was like, can my husband come back for like the epidural, for all, like I'd never seen the inside of an operating room. And they were like, no. And I was like, can you please come back? I need
What the
someone there with me.
fuck?
I've never done this before. And they're like, he's not allowed in there. And so like they wouldn't let him back, so I'm like in the like operating room, like sitting on the
Okay, so if her son is 7, we're in the year of our Lord 2026. This just came out on Wednesday, so I can only assume that this was also filmed in 2026. So 2026 minus 7, that is 2019. This is pre-COVID. There is no reason for her husband to be denied entry to her surgical suite for her to have her child. That is like pretty standard practice nowadays, or at the time that she would have had her child.
table waiting for this massive needle, and I'm shaking so violently with terror that like
Oh
and
my
like all the
God.
doctors there like ignored, like they did not give a shit. It was the intern, like the med school intern that like saw me like panic, like a girl, and she came over and like held my hand through it, and I was like,
Of course, it was another woman that noticed your panic and came to help you. Like, I'm sorry, but yeah. And also, I feel like in medical school, people just like sell their souls or they're forced to give them up at some point. Because yeah.
whoever you are, and like I hope like she probably has no idea that she helped me. Like that meant so much to me that day, that moment of kindness where it's like a fellow young woman like being like, this woman is terrified and like no one is being nice to her. And so then like the recovery from the C-section was horrible. The guy like sliced me
Oh my God, she's tearing up.
way too high. He was lazy. I'm probably giving like way too many
No,
details.
you're not. This
but,
is- this is the real shit.
He sliced me in a way that was convenient to him, but essentially destroyed like the flow and look of my stomach where it never would heal right. To the
Oh my God. This guy should be sued for medical malpractice.
point where we moved to a new state eventually, and I got pregnant with my daughter. And like it took me a while to even want to have a second kid because what I went through in the recovery from the C-section was so bad. It was
I don't blame you at all. I think that's incredibly brave of you to even consider having a second child. Like, oh my God, my heart hurts for you.
not fun for me. And like I had to have this emergency C-section, one, like because like my son was 2 weeks late, but 2, he started going into distress, but like he had not dropped. And it was the kind of thing where I sometimes think about this. Like if I had been born like 100 years before, I would have died. And so like that really stuck with me, the sense of like I should be dead and my son should be dead from this. And I hope he's listening to this, like not freaking out right now, but like I should be like not here. And so like that kind of like has lingered where I'm like, without modern science and medicine, like I wouldn't be here. But then when I had my daughter, I had an amazing gynecologist here in LA actually. And she, in our first appointment when we met each other, she took one look at what this man had done to me and she had to walk out of the room. And she was like, I never would have cut you like that. And she was,
Yeah, well, I mean, she's a woman, right? So she knows exactly what you would have to deal. Like, she knows what you're living with at that point. But yeah, good for her for finding a miles better doctor than before.
so she was shaking. She was like, this was unnecessary. She's like, well, why did he do it? She's like, because he was lazy and he was an asshole. And so then and then when it came time to deliver my daughter, and she had to use the same line, and she was so mad that she had to like do this. And like, so it just was like this very traumatic thing. And my body never felt like, with a kid in me, like it never felt like my body anyway. Because I'm like, there's an alien growing in me. This is weird. And like every time like they would move and I'd like see them, I'd like, I was not like, oh, I was like, get it out. Like, what is this? And so then like to lose complete control, like a lot, like just I did not have like easy pregnancies and births. And so like Feyre and all of that, like just was my own way of processing my shit. And like, again, like it's not like I didn't die. I wasn't like dead like Feyre was, but like the fear, like Reese's fear, even that probably came from my fear and thinking about having another kid. And like, just like all of that, that's the way where like the things I go through in life feed into my books, where like it wasn't a play-by-play of my pregnancy. And like, obviously my kids don't have wings that are getting stuck in the birth canal, but like the fear, the trauma, like all of that, like the writing that book allowed me to get it out of my system in a way.
Yeah, that scene where Feyre is like giving birth and where all of that goes down. Oh my God. That was like really, really hard to read. And knowing this and learning about this experience from her, it explains exactly why it was so hard to read.
And process it.
Thank you for sharing that, because obviously I've read the book and this gives so much more color to like the why, and it just made me think too, like we don't talk about how it is very risky.
Yeah, and there's like they're constantly doing tests. Like every ultrasound is terrifying because you want to make sure, is everything okay? Is there a heartbeat even? And you're like, and so there's joy in it, but there's fear constantly built into the stages.
Yeah, I feel like this is definitely like an individual thing for sure. Like what I'm getting from this is that our gal Sarah J. Maas has some incredible health anxiety.
The pregnancy, and like maybe some women do just have pure joy, but I found it to be very stressful, very scary. I just was constantly like worrying that something would go wrong. I mean, when I was pregnant with my daughter, I actually like broke my ankle and fell down the stairs. Yeah, I like took one step and like my ankle just like crunched, and then I fell down the stairs and my ankle like gave way, and I was like pretty heavily pregnant. I had to be like rushed to the hospital, and like they'd like check that the baby was okay. And then, like I was
traumatizing.
yeah, and it just was like a level of like freak out where everyone's like, oh my God, like the worst possible thing could happen, and it's happened. Like it was intense. It was.
Were you nervous at all about the feedback of writing this into Feyre's?
No, I mean, like the thing is like, again, with like the sex and the periods, I'm like, motherhood is a thing that so many women experience, for better or worse. And it was something that I wanted to write about, where I didn't want like Feyre's journey shouldn't just end where it's like she's happily ever after and she's punching out kids. I'm like, no, like there's like a story to be told there. There are things that like will play out from that. And like motherhood doesn't need to be like glossed over. It doesn't need to be something that's like seen as weak. Like someone being in a loving relationship with a person and choosing to bring a new life into this world and to share their world and open up their hearts to someone, that's a beautiful thing. Like however you make a family, like that is a beautiful, wonderful thing. And it is not a weakness. And like I have become a stronger person because I'm a mother. Like I learned how to stand up for myself becoming a mom more than I ever did before I had kids.
Good for you, Sarah. And yeah, I feel like having kids like really is like a very pivotal moment for a lot of people. It really changes how you view yourself and how you view the world. And I mean, like, however you choose to become a parent, whether that's like through adoption or through having a child via your own body or through having a child via surrogate, like yeah, it really changes your whole worldview when you decide to be a parent to a person.
And I realized like who I am now, not just being a mom, but the things I have learned as a mom. Like I realize like they're like the biggest badasses in the world. And like I have learned more from being a mom than I ever did. And I think that's a strength and a wisdom that like should be shared.
It is.
And
it's
like
beautiful that you did. I also remember, and I don't know if you can say if it was related to that, but you've said before that you were going through some mental health struggles while writing A Court of Silver Flames. And in the book, obviously, we see Nesta working through some of her trauma.
Yeah. Silver Flames, I really liked Silver Flames, and I really liked it was because of Nesta's journey. I really connected with Nesta's journey. This is like totally getting beyond the point, but yeah, just the juxtaposition right now. Like she is in, right? Sarah is in like clothes for going out. She looks like she's like, out in public. Are we like in Alex's home or something? Like just like the sweatsuit with the fucking fuzzy socks and the slippers, like just the juxtaposition here is incredible. Also, I would love for this to be on, but I'm sure it's too warm there for that because it's LA, and who needs a fireplace in LA? No one.
and trying to overcome it. Like,
Yep.
in what ways did your life at the time mirror or influence each other in that writing process?
All of my books kind of have mirrored my own mental health journey even before I realized I had issues. Like a lot of what like Aelin went through and like Air of Fire, all of that, like that was like drawn from like very broken places in me. Mist and Fury, that came out of me and I didn't even realize like what that meant about me. But Silver Flames was really the first time when I understood the connection. And I, around 2018, I mean, it was the year my son was born. I had 3 books published.
Her son was born in 2018. Yeah, there's no reason why her husband couldn't go back with her for her C-section. That is ridiculous.
I was requested to come back from my maternity leave like a couple weeks later to do like copy edits, like page, like just like reviewing stuff. And like, so like I literally like the stuff I sent in was splattered with breast milk because I was like pumping like while I'm like editing pages. It was a lot. And like there was a lot, and it was like Kingdom of Ash was coming out that year, and like I just kept like refining things and tweaking things, and it's about to go to the printer, and I'm told like it's too long. The book is too long by a couple pages. It has to go to print in like 2 days. We need to find like 5 pages to cut. And like not just like see like so I went through this book again, pumping, hormonal, recovering from a C-section, frantic to find like to move text, or like literally not just like cutting words, but like being like this line, like you could like bump this word up here, like all like 1,000 pages in a frenzy. I finish it, and then I get an email. Oh yeah, we found this space anyway. It's okay. And so like it was just like there was a lot going on, and so like that was the year
that would be so frustrating. Oh, you want me to just like quickly go over my 1,000-page book and just quickly like try and find 5 pages to lose out of it? Okay, cool. Yeah, no, let me just do that with my brand new baby and my traumatic birth story that I'm like actively going through right now. Okay, yeah, no, let me just do that for you real quick. No big deal. Oh, you didn't need me to do that? Like, I deal with this at my own job sometimes too. Like sometimes I would just love for people to like do their homework on what exactly has to happen before they bother me about it. I feel for you, Sarah. That is like, yeah, that was bullshit because they shouldn't have done that to you. Especially not when you have like a brand new baby at home. Jesus.
I started to have these like panic attacks where I had this overwhelming sense that something awful was going to happen, that it was all going to go away and implode, and that like it got like I had a panic attack that lasted for like 2-3 days I'd never had one before. And then they just started happening like more and more frequently until like I got to like the fall of like 2019, and I reached like such a dark place that like I scared myself.
How do you have panic attacks for 2 or 3 days? I've had several in my life, and they've only lasted for 20 minutes or so, but I couldn't imagine them lasting longer than that. That has got to be scary. But I also like go numb when I get panic attacks. So like, was she just walking around? Like, I wonder what it felt like for her. That's so, yeah. And like having panic attacks about her own success, like it makes sense, right? Because I mean, everyone has a chance to like, you know, your star can burn out. Oh, that makes me feel for her so much.
And I realized like I needed to talk to someone. I needed therapy. Like it was a very like, I feel like I'm gonna cry talking about it. It was a very, very low moment. And going to therapy wound up being the thing that saved my life. It saved my life.
Aww.
And I went because I looked at my son, sorry, and I just was like, I want to be here. This is what I'm fighting for. I don't want to feel this way. The thing that I love the most, writing, has become terrifying to me. Like I need to not be, sorry, in this hole. And so I started going to therapy. I got put on medication. We figured it out. It was rough. But out of that, as I was doing that, that's when I started writing Silver Flames. And so what Nesta feels in that book, I wrote that as I was going through therapy. And so like, I've like never cried talking. I feel.
Yeah, no, I think that this is why I connect with Nesta's story so much. Like there was so much just like raw emotion in there, and like just so much stuff that you really like see her like work through and like go in through the tangle and like come out on the other side with it untangled. Like yeah, there's a lot of that happening in Silver Flames that I really, really like. And like seeing this context for it, it makes sense why it hits home so well, so easily, I might say, and just so, yeah, so poignantly. So, wow.
Very emotional talking about this, but I remember like the exact moment when I like came up with the idea for the scene where she and Cassian are taking that hike and she just breaks down. And like that was me in New Zealand with Josh at my lowest on a hike thinking the same thing. And just like, and as I was on this hike, I started crying and then I saw Nesta and I saw this scene. And so like that came out. I took notes, I wrote down that scene, like that all came out of me. And so where she
Wait, you took notes on your own breakdown on a hike with your husband? Or did I read that? Am I misinterpreting this? Did she take notes on her own life?
gets like at the end, like she's not perfect, she's not healed.
I'm just being cheeky, I promise.
She's still a work in progress. But like she was in a hole, I was in a hole, and like we dug our way out of it together. And like the friends that I like made during that, like it's like the friendship she made, where like the love that you have with like your romantic partner is one thing, but then like finding like girlfriends that like get you and like don't judge you, like that is another thing. And like that was a gift that I was given too. That like, and so you just, I just basically wrote what needed to come out of me as I was going through all of it. And so that book has a very, very special place in my heart. But now I'm able to look back at like Mist and Fury and like Aylin's journey in Thorny Glass and realize like, oh yes, like I did actually suffer from a lot of these things for many, many years. And I had coping mechanisms in place that were very effective until they weren't anymore.
Wow. I mean, that's kind of like the way to put it though, right? I feel like that's how mental illness kind of, or maybe not mental illness, but I feel like that's how like a mental crisis kind of like comes into play for a lot of people. Not mental, I mean emotional. I feel like that's how you get like a lot of like emotional crises that come to the surface for some people, is that there are underlying issues that were always kind of there and underlying things that you've always kind of felt. However, you're able to cope with it, like she said, up until you can't. So, and then once you can't, that is a pretty scary place to be.
Can you share a little bit with Mist and Fury, like what you were going through?
I mean, Feyre's sense of panic, like those panic attacks that she has, where she's describing walls coming in, and like all of that came from feelings that I had. I didn't even know I was having panic attacks. That race, the acid in the blood feeling, reactions to things, like just like these ups and downs, like all of that. And like I drew on my own like emotional feelings, but I had no idea until I was able to reflect in therapy, like, oh, like, so like high school, like, yeah, like, of course, that's why I felt the way I did. Like my anxiety around like tests and all of that, and like having to like perform, like so many, like, I've uncovered so many things about myself, but that now make like looking back on my books, I'm like, oh, this is really interesting, because like this was the shit that I was going through without even realizing I was going through that. But
I mean, art imitates life, right? It makes sense that that like her experiences like this would manifest in her stories, because you can only write about what you know.
Sarah, like it's so real hearing you speak about this, because you sharing your birth journey, and as a woman sitting across from you, when you were like, oh my God, I hope this isn't too much detail, I was like, no, keep going, because I think all of us are sitting here being like, yes, we've experienced it, we've all gone to, whether it's a gynecologist and it's been uncomfortable, or a doctor, and these are real things that kind of are like hush hush and you don't talk about, all the way from that traumatic experience, and then having your child, you having this moment where the thing that you loved the most of like wanting to have a child and also writing, and all of it kind of closing in and not going the way you wanted it to, and everyone's like yelling at you to get these things done, what used to be such a fun time in your life to just write because it was in your brain, now it's like it's a deadline, let's go.
It's a job. Yeah.
It's a job. And so you started to put too much pressure on yourself, because understandably this thing has gotten so massive.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, as humans, sometimes we literally need the breaking point to slow us down, to be like, something has to change, I can't live like this forever.
Yeah. And just like realizing that like I do have a value as a person beyond my books, and like the love that like the people around me feel for me is not tied to my success, and like and accepting that like whatever happens, like that doesn't take away from me, and like
Yeah, Sarah, you are absolutely worth more than your... Sorry, I keep giving her terrible freeze frames. Sarah, you are worth you are more than your books. Like, your mind is precious and it should be protected at all costs, but you, the person, you are what matters.
things that I have in my life, not in terms of like the material things, but like my children, my husband, my friends, like those are all the things that like nothing can take that away from me. And that's what I like realize, like I learned to separate it in a very healthy way, where now
Good.
like it is like a job for me now, but it's something that I can approach with joy and like confidence, where I'm not operating from a place of fear, which is what started to happen before I had these like massive panic attacks.
I'm so glad to hear that. I'm glad that it's joyful for her again. And honestly, like, yeah, some of the books, like, so Mist and Fury and then Kingdom of Ash, like, there are some very like low emotional points in it. So it kind of, I can see where these events pop up.
so relatable, and I have also experienced that in my life. So I'm like very in simpatico with you right now, because I think a lot of people can relate to that, of having a feeling in your life where you get some.
I'm sorry, that just drop kicked me out of this. I'm very in simpatico with you right now. Okay.
Thing you've always wanted,
Mm-hmm.
but then the fear of losing it, it starts to take over your entire body.
It eats away at you.
And you feel like as big as it keeps getting, you don't have time to stop and process it and enjoy it. And it's like all of a sudden your greatest like happiness that was this passion thing becomes this nightmare.
Exactly.
That only you can kind of re-regulate and be like, if all this goes away tomorrow, I'm still me, I have my husband, I have my family. And it doesn't have to go away tomorrow, but I have to believe that if I need to know I would be okay if it didn't. So
Yes, my therapist made me go through a scenario. She's like, okay, it's all done. What are you doing? And like she made me walk through it. She's like, what do you do? She's like, what's your priority? I'm like, well, I need to make sure that
I like this therapist the more I'm hearing about her journey with her or with this person. I think that is pretty cool. You know, making someone plot out their worst fear and how they would respond to it in a controlled setting. That is so empowering.
my kids have how like we went through every worst case scenario, and she had me figure my way out through it until I realized like I will survive. I am like strong. I am like able to adapt and pivot if I need to. And like so like knowing that gave me a freedom to be like, yeah, okay, I'll do the thing that I want to do. Like worst case scenario, I'll be like a florist / like DJ / like amateur marine biologist, like I wanted to be like as a kid.
That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing.
Did you want to? Okay, when I was in middle,
DJ marine biologist.
yes, okay, like when I was in middle
Sarah
school,
J. Maas, what?
when I was in middle school, I had this.
Okay, low key, I don't want to shit on your dreams, Sarah J. Maas, but also being a marine biologist, that's like the cool kids club, number one. So field scientist, they're the coolest ones. Number two, being in the cool kids club and getting into that, you have to be like in the know. I swear. I didn't try very hard, but I was very interested in doing it, and I could never quite get my way in there because I very much started in a lab. So I hope that you have better success than I do should you ever need or want to do it.
Like I loved sharks. I still love sharks.
Okay.
Like I wanted to be a marine
Sharks are
biologist
cool.
as well as a writer.
Okay.
But like I had this dream
Sharks are badass. Sharks are very important for the ecosystem too.
of like living like on the beach in like the Caribbean, like sleeping in a hammock at night,
Love.
and then like going out in
Hell
the morning
yeah.
with like my spearfishing gun and catching my like lobster for breakfast, and then I go out and study sharks all day. And like that was the life I was gonna lead.
What? I'm pretty sure lobsters aren't in the Caribbean, but okay.
So you're like, I could tap.
Actually, you know what? We're gonna love this. I need to know. Oh, okay. Look at that. I'm wrong. Go off, Sarah. Get you your lobsters.
Back into that, guys.
And I'll go back to I nearly flunked every science and math course, which is why I did not become a marine biologist. Freshman bio, I was like just on the verge of an F the entire year.
It's good to know though. Like if all this goes.
Honestly, yeah, you need like at least an intuitive understanding of numbers and science if you're gonna be a biologist. But if you want to do field work, like you don't have to know a ton to collect, but you probably won't be able to do much beyond collect, which might not be that fun.
Away, we know where to look for you.
Yeah, find me on the open seas.
Call Her Daddy is brought to you by Hidden Valley Ranch.
What?
Watching a basketball game isn't the same without Hidden Valley Ranch. Am I right or am I right?
We're talking about emotional trauma. And now you're going to bring up ranch? Okay, well, I hate this podcast.
I'm right? Okay, thank you. I know I'm right. Okay, mom. Hey, it's Hidden Valley Ranch.
This, God. Okay, I can see why people have like mixed reviews on this podcast. This is the first episode I've ever watched of it. Okay, I hate that we have a ranch ad right now.
Hit on like F the whole system of like, oh my God, she's just talking about sex and we just went through all this really intense fucking shit.
Yeah.
And now we can talk about the sex in a fun way because that is not just what it is, but it's a huge major point.
Yeah,
So-
my parents, I'm not even telling them about this interview.
Okay, don't even tell them.
Yeah, don't tell mom and dad.
Don't tell mom and dad. They're never gonna watch this. They won't even know.
No, they don't know how to use an iPad.
Perfect.
My dad's reading the newspaper
Right.
still.
This won't be in the
Yeah.
newspaper.
No.
Hopefully. Oh God.
Really.
I like.
Okay, I was thinking about it. You talked about how like you love to write
I love all the shade on her parents. Like they aren't supportive.
about the push and pull in relationships romantically, which like obviously we all love it. But what for you specifically really makes you tick about that type of dynamic?
I just like if I'm like, does that kind of turn me on? Yeah. Okay, then I'm gonna fucking write it. And like that dynamic, like the characters have to like have that spark initially. It's almost beyond me. Where like if they don't like, and sometimes like two characters.
I feel like you can definitely tell that Sarah J. Maas writes books that she wants to read because they are very compelling, and I feel like she has really good taste.
Will like get together and there's like something there that I didn't even like plan. I'm like, okay, like
we're gonna go with that. And I like the way like that makes me feel. Like there's something there that I can't put my finger on, but there's like a chemistry.
Give me an example.
I mean, when I was first writing ACOTAR a million bajillion years ago, those initial few weeks, I was just going by like headlight style. Like I would only write as far as I could just like see like, you know, like down the road. And so
Honestly, I can tell.
I just was writing as it came to me. Like I did not plan that book. It just poured out of me. So like I didn't know what was gonna happen. I didn't plan it out beforehand. So Feyre, like there's a beast and I'm like, oh, this guy's like hot. And like she gets to his like house. And I'm like, oh, he's sexy. And then like we get to like
This might be an unpopular opinion. I don't like ACOTAR that much. I find the writing extremely hard to read, and I didn't like the writing itself for me was just really hard to get through because it was hard. I felt like it was hard to understand, but it was also it was in first person. It is in first person, right? So I was going from reading a lot of third person stuff to now this first person. So I'm willing to take some blame in this equation here, but also like I found the first book pretty hard to get through, but worth it.
and then we get to the night when Reese shows up, and then I'm like, oh no, like it's not this guy, it's this guy. And then like it's like that was like so like that initial seed. Like I was like, this is a sweet little romance with like Beauty and the Beast with like Feyre and Tamlin, and then like Paige whatever. It's like Reese walks on, and like I did not plan him. He walked into that scene ahead of time. I was like, again, like
Sarah, I need you to tell me, and I need you to confirm for me that you know that these people aren't real. Okay? Like, he walked into that scene because you made him walk into that scene. I really need you to tell me that you know that these people aren't real.
writing this in real time, not planning it. I had nothing to do. I didn't have a job at that time, so I just was like writing like whatever came out of me that day. And so like
one of the most epic scenes. You're like, it just happened in my brain.
It literally, I was just writing this scene where like I'd planned for there to be like, you know, like sexy, like bonfires, all of that. And then like through the smoke, all of a sudden,
Here he comes.
this guy comes. And I'm like, who the fuck is this? And then like he's there and I'm like, oh no, like this is what we're doing. So it's like that kind of thing where I'm
Amazing.
like, and that just like, I saw it and like felt it all like, but then like, of course, like it was so funny when like the first ACOTAR came out and people were like, I love Tamlin so much, I got a tattoo of him. And like knowing what like was going to happen, I was like,
fuck.
I was like, I'm so happy.
You're like, I'm so happy for you. Also, I'm so sorry.
I will pay for the tattoo laser removal in like a year.
Well, no, it was such a mindfuck because I also was falling in love with Tamlin and then I was like, what is happening?
But I wanted it to be like you know, like when you fall in love with a guy and then you realize like he's not the one for you and like he's got a lot of fucking issues. Yeah.
Yes. Across your books, if you had to say right now today, which couple is your current favorite?
Oh my God. I don't know. That's really, really hard and depends on my mood. I don't know.
Okay.
That's I don't like that.
Okay, here we go. Skirting a question. The first like direct kind of question that we have about something, right? Also, yeah, this is our first like direct question. We're over halfway through. Okay, whatever. It's about the books. The other stuff has been about her as a person. Okay. This is a fine interview format. I'm not commenting on that. But skirted question number 1.
I love them all. Again, like I have to feel it and like feel that like sexiness and like and I have to be like obsessed with them.
Okay. Fuck, marry, kill. Rhysand, Hunt, Rowan.
Okay. You got this.
Okay.
I'm like trying to think of like the realities of my own marriage and like what has worked and what doesn't work.
Okay.
I'm like, which one of them farts the least? That's the one I want to marry.
Perfect.
Because I live with that reality.
Well, you know.
Oh, okay. So we just learned something about Josh.
You wrote these people.
I don't know. This is hard. I mean, like I kind of like want to fuck all of them. Okay. I mean, to be quite honest, and marry all of them. I don't want to kill any of them.
You'll fuck them all.
Yeah.
Honestly, you make the rules today, Sarah.
Okay.
She doesn't want to kill any of them. I think this is important. So I think that Ryze is going to survive. Okay, this is important. She doesn't want to kill any of them.
You want to fuck them all?
Yeah,
I'm fine.
I mean, my parents aren't listening to this. Yeah, I'll fuck.
They have no
all
idea.
Of them. My son is listening.
Your son and your husband are in the other room, but that's fine.
Yeah, no, I hope
they know what to
ears.
expect.
Yeah.
Is it true that you like part of your process is you sit and ponder how sexy the character's potential name is before officially giving it to them?
Oh yeah. Again, like I am. Like I will always be like a Legolas fangirl. And part of that's like his name, and like what if his name like. I mean, no offense to anyone, but like Frank.
Right, you're like Frank. Right, like I'm not getting off to Frank.
The elf warrior prince.
Wait, are there any names that almost made the cut in your series but didn't that you could share?
I mean, nothing like nothing. I don't think I've like named like every like I've used up like all my hot, but like usually like if like someone's attractive, I'm like okay, let's find the hottest name, and then I'll, like go through like baby name websites, and I'm like sexy Celtic warrior god with abs of steel. What name is that?
I wish I could see your Google searches.
It would be sad. It would be like what time's the next Labubu drop, and then like show me abs.
And what are good names?
And what are hot baby names? That's sexy baby names, which I'm sure is a very strange thing to.
I was so messed up from it because
Sexy baby name seems like an oxymoron.
Because when I was reading it at first, I was in my own world and I really thought his name was Rysand.
Oh.
And then I thought, you're like, oh, you idiot. And then I thought, Sarah.
No,
Like, oh.
I allow any and all pronunciations.
You do?
It's a safe space. I am not going to judge. I am a reader first and foremost.
Okay.
So I understand.
Well, because when you
Yeah, she freaking gets it. Oh, she's a reader, not an audiobooker. No, excellent point. I like that because I've pronounced a bunch of her characters differently than how she does.
shorten it to Rise, it looks like Rise instead of Reese. And then I remember going on TikTok and I was like, oh my God, I'm an idiot. And so then I had to like retrain my brain, which is fine.
Okay.
And Feyre, I forget. I think,
Feyre's not a natural one. Reese is an actual like name in this world.
but wouldn't it be R-E-E?
Well, it can be spelled like that, but isn't there like a Phillies player? You
You're
know,
right. I got
Reese,
confused.
Reese,
Yeah.
whatever. I don't know his. It's not like Feyre is a made up name. That one.
How did you come up with that?
I don't know.
You-
That was just like I was like, what sounds cool? Feyre. Done.
Done. Put her.
Done.
Okay, there's honestly no excuse for people to be mispronouncing Feyre too, because she literally gives us a pronunciation at the beginning of ACOTAR. I remember that.
Done.
Okay. We need to quickly talk about the Tamlin and Rhysand thing because it is a big conversation that I think people are going to kill me if I don't ask about.
Okay.
Obviously, throughout the ACOTAR books, we saw Tamlin like trying to justify his controlling tendencies by saying things like, "Oh my gosh, I'm just doing it to protect Feyre." Then he locks her in the manor, which was infuriating and wild. What were you hoping for readers to understand about their relationship as that slowly started to progress? Because you're right, you made us all fall in love with him and get tattoos about him, and then.
Yeah, and you know what? I think like people change in relationships, and what Feyre and, to be fair, Tamlin went through under the mountain fucked them both up majorly. And Tamlin is someone that, you know, we haven't dealt.
Yeah, Under the Mountain was pretty terrible, honestly, for both of them. I would say much more so for Feyre because of everything that was happening. Like, because she was like the main star, but Tamlin, he had to witness all of this firsthand. So, like, and he was also captured, just in a different way.
Too deeply into this, but it's been put in the books. Like he had a fucked up family. He did not have any systems in place to cope with that. But he also is a guy who's been like in charge and powerful for a long time, and then like someone's like he doesn't know, he doesn't have the emotional toolkit to handle this, and he implodes and he drags.
He also doesn't really put any thought into what he's doing, you know? Like the whole tithing thing that he was forcing everyone to keep going on for. The only explanation he could ever give to Feyre as to why they needed to do it was because, oh, well, this is what we do. This is what we've always done. So therefore we have to keep doing it. And I would expect someone who is immortal and in charge of, you know, his own court and stuff like that, I would expect them to have like some critical thoughts about what exactly they're doing and why. And the fact that he clearly did not, it's not a good look for him, right? Like if you're going to be doing something that like really is affecting a lot of people and is like kind of mean to a lot of people, right? I think it was the river sprites that couldn't pay, or maybe they were like sirens or something. I don't know. Whatever the aquatic creatures that like couldn't pay, that are like super gluttonous, that Feyre helps out and pays their tithe for them, and they like help her out later. I would expect someone who resents his family and has inherited their court to not just like blindly accept everything that their parents instituted in said court. So like bro needs more critical thinking.
Her down with him, and that was just like it just felt natural to me. Like it just felt like a natural thing where like I knew who Tamlin was as a person, knew like that this is how he would react, and this like shows who he is. And it's like Reese responds to the trauma in a different way, in the way that Feyre needs and connects with. Tamlin can't handle that trauma, and it's, you know, he made his own choices, but he's also the result of his upbringing. So there's an element of like me that I pity him, you know, in the same way I'd pity like anyone who's like endured like an abusive family trauma, all of that. Like he's been through it and he doesn't know how to cope with it.
Pity is a wild word to use there, especially if you're going to lump anyone who's been abused by their family into this. You pity them. Okay.
And like he does shitty things because of it, and I'm not like excusing those shitty things, because like that is why Feyre moved on. But I wanted Feyre to like realize like there are different ways to face the shit that you go through, and that's what defines you.
The wedding scene.
Okay.
I loved it so much because I thought it was actually such an accurate representation of a woman before those doors open.
Yeah.
And you see so many women who talk about, I kind of knew before I went down the aisle, so why did I do it?
Yeah.
And you slowed it down so perfectly that it was this like horrifying, amazing moment that it was amazing. Do you think Tamlin will ever have a full redemption arc?
So, okay. Speaking about, just before she answers that, this wedding and the beginning of Mist and Fury, when we're like going through that whole thing, at the time I was like in the end stages of planning my own wedding. And so when I saw that like that was what was happening, I was pretty stressed about my own wedding at that point. Also, I'm putting glue all over my hand. Sorry if it's distracting. So I was like going through the final stages of planning my own wedding at that time. And when I saw that this was that the beginning of this book was like all wedding stuff, I was like, oh no, I don't know if I'm ready for this. Like, I don't know if I can be reading this right now. Maybe I need to like wait until after my wedding to really like read this series. I'm really glad that I didn't end up doing that. This whole like wedding scene, as someone who is about to get married, it like stressed me out reading about them planning their own wedding because I was like, oh my God, I have to do this in real life. This isn't the escapism I wanted. You know, first world problems.
I don't know. It's tricky because I've had so many women, especially including some like very dear friends of mine, who've like come up and told me about like how they saw their own abusive relationship mirrored in Tamlin. And so if I were to ever write like more about Tamlin, it would be done in a way where like it doesn't erase what he has done, it doesn't like invalidate the feelings of like my readers who've connected to that. Like it would have to be done in a way that was genuine to him and to reality, but also like well aware of like what he means for like different types of people and different experiences, and to honor and respect them for that. And like I don't usually like let those things dictate what I write, but it's something like one of my very best friends is like a survivor of domestic abuse, and like, you know, she often refers to her ex as Tamlin. And like I've actually talked to her about it. Like, how would you feel? Like, you know, like if just like me as the creator, like separating us as friends, like would that feel like a betrayal to you? And so like we've had like interesting conversations about it, but it's something I'd really want to think about. And I've given myself.
That is interesting, and it is kind of a dangerous game. I can see why she does, like, why one would not normally, or why one wouldn't generally let others' opinions dictate what they want to do, like with their writing in this situation. But yeah, Tamlin has had such a huge moment as his own person and as like a just a universally accepted dick in the romance fantasy world. I think it's admirable for her to kind of change her tune on this specifically and be like, no, I would want to like respect what I've already done with Tamlin before changing anything about it, or before like too drastically changing or giving him a redemption or like an arc or something like that that would change how people see him.
Of like several options, because it's something that's probably like the hardest thing for me to figure. Like, to be quite honest, like that's tricky for me. It's tricky for me also just emotionally, because like part of me wants to be like, that fucker can burn in hell forever. But like as a writer, I'm like, but like what is the story there? Like what is like, and like not to excuse him for any of it, but
It's
just explore it.
I love hearing your thought process though, because again, it's like this world and then pulling out of it, like they are such like real themes. And then also hearing the dynamic, like I'm curious, how did you?
I mean, her mind really is an enigma, and it's interesting to hear her talk about this kind of stuff. It's a lot going on. It's a lot to consider for Ariel.
Obviously, Reese is the highest fae in existence.
Mm-hmm.
And so how
Highest or hottest?
both.
Hey.
Both, Sarah. How did you decide like how Feyre was going to maintain her autonomy in that type of relationship?
I mean, that should be just like a given thing in any relationship, regardless of like who has power and what. And like, I don't know, I'm not.
Alex is like, oh my God, he's so cool and handsome and strong. How is she ever going to be her own person? Sarah's just like, why would she not be her own person? Okay. That's funny. Okay, there's fundamentally different attitudes going on right now.
Cracked with the fucking assholes. Like my husband and I have been together actually since I was 18. For all my like crapping on like, you know, like people should have multiple romantic partners. My husband was like my first and only boyfriend. Yeah, but like we are equals. We are partners in this. And like, I think I just demand that like.
Her husband was her first and only boyfriend. That's actually wild. I think I had like 4 or 5.
The females in my books like have those relationships of like respect and like partnership, just like because that's what I demand like of myself and what I expect of myself, and like that's what I have. That's the gift that
I would love it if she like stopped using male female. Like honestly, it feels so weird. Like it feels like Joe Rogan-esque, I guess is the way to put it.
I've been given is someone that like respects me and like honors me and like loves me. And like the power dynamic thing, I'm like, you know, like I don't know, it's kind of like I think it's like really kind of hot that like a super powerful dude like wants to get on his knees in front of this like she is in control of him 100%. But even that, but she doesn't want control over him. She wants a partner. Like she doesn't want like, you know, like they do have like a push pull of like sexy, like who's in charge of what, but like they ultimately like they want a lover who's also like a best friend that like they can be equal with and speak to on an honest level.
I think the fans' perception of Rhysand was really tested when he didn't clearly communicate the risks of what could happen in this pregnancy to her. What is your take on that?
I mean, Rhys is entitled to like go through his own shit and make his own mistakes. And should he have told Feyre? Yes, but he was absolutely terrified. Like faced with like I don't know. Like I just tried to decide. Like Rhys in that choice, like he made a bad choice. I think like it was not that like Feyre was obviously upset. Like Nesta thought it was fucked up. And like I love Rhys, smoking hot. Like I love who he is beyond that. But like I think it's
I love Rhys. He's smoking hot. Don't worry, I like him beyond.
much more interesting for me as a writer to have him make perhaps a bad call and do it from a place of love and then like be able to reflect later, being like, maybe I did like the thing here that like the ex-boyfriend like also kind of did, and like that's not okay, and like what do I learn from it? Like yeah, he's like 500 years old, he's still learning.
Yeah.
Like he's never been a mate husband, he's never had a pregnant mate, he's frantic. Like he finds out she's been given a death sentence, but she's full of joy about it. And how do you be that person that takes the joy away? Like how like, and Feyre would have wanted to know, but I can understand why Rhys didn't want to tell her, because there was just like he was so desperate to find us. Like why stress?
Okay, Sarah, these are not real people. However, I fully agree with her. Like the fact that Rhys knew and he didn't want to tell Feyre that she was basically in a doomed pregnancy from the start. It was really out of preservation for her, right? Like she wanted to have a child with him. He wanted to have a child with her. And that is what happened, right? Like that's, I think that's fine. But also, yeah, like should he have told her before it was like go time? Yeah, no, he definitely should have. But like I can also see it from his perspective, right? He didn't want to just freak out his wife while she's carrying their child, especially if there was a possibility that she didn't have that like she was going to be okay. You know, why would you unnecessarily concern your partner who's in this very vulnerable position when that might not even be founded? You know, he spends the entirety of Silver Flames looking for answers for her, and he doesn't tell her until after he knows there isn't an answer. I mean, Nesta forces him, but like he doesn't tell Feyre until after he's certain, which I think is respectable. You know, if you're going to make someone panic, make sure that they're panicking for a good reason.
Her out until like he was desperate for a solution. And like
No, and you're right.
Yeah.
It's so much more interesting to read from that perspective instead of like, oh, then I tell her and everything. Like,
yeah, no, like they need to have like issue, like it's true love, they're mates, but like they do have issues that they need to sort out. They've come from very different backgrounds. They're still figuring out the dynamic. They're both navigating a whole new scenario, and like they can make mistakes.
Right.
Both of them can make mistakes.
what do you think was the most romantic moment you wrote between Rhys and Feyre?
Starfall, I think when like she gets like they get splattered with like the glitter or whatever. Like I don't know, there's something about that. That scene always stands out for me.
Mhm.
I love, like I still hear like that scene was very much inspired by Florence and the Machine's Cosmic Love. And it's like every time I like hear that song, I'm like taken back to like being at the House of Wind, like
It's
seeing
really
them.
cute.
Yeah.
How is it so crazy the way that chapter 55 has like everyone's like chapter 55, chapter 55. You're like, oh my, did you know? Like, what was your headspace when you were writing that?
I'm just like,
Chapter
finally, they're finally
55.
fucking. Like, good.
Chapter 55, for those who either don't remember or haven't read the series, it is, or you shouldn't be here if you haven't read the series, but chapter 55, if you somehow cannot remember, it is the scene after Feyre accepts the mating bond in that fun little cabin that Rhys goes to for the snowball fights every year.
Like, I can't wait for this. Like, so I just like, but like, it was like such an emotional release because it was like the buildup of the entire backstory that I, as the writer, had been waiting to finally like reveal, and like I got to get that out of my system and lay it all out there. And then like the consummation of that, and I just was like, this is everything. I just was so satisfied. So I was like crying, but then also just like, yeah, this is hot. It just was, but like and so for it to become like a thing, like that actually means a lot to me, because that was a scene that I looked forward to writing for so long, that when it finally came out of me, like it's almost exactly like verbatim, like the way it poured out of me, like not much change between like the initial version of that scene and the published one. So like it just means a lot that it connected, like it's become a thing.
Oh girl, it hit. You mentioned mates, and to just quickly go through that, because I don't know if we still have people that are listening that aren't familiar with the books. I would be shocked.
You should be
but
gone by
You
now.
should be gone.
You should be gone.
We're a little too in the weeds, but can you just quickly explain like what that means in the world, mates?
It's kind of like your destined true love in a way, but it's complicated because there's a biological component to it where like you can be mated to someone that is like not actually your true love. So, like there's like true mates, and then there's kind of like nature made a mistake. Like Rhys's parents did not love each other. Like it was not a great relationship, but they were mates, and it was like there's a biological thing where they're like, we want to be together, but then it's like we're fucking miserable with each other, especially as moms. So it's like it's tricky. But then when you find your perfect mate, like Rhys and Feyre, Cassie and Nesta, like that is like the like last little piece of your soul that was like kind of a little broken and is now like you found your person.
But the rejecting of mates, is Elaine rejecting the bond with Lucian?
I think Elaine's got like her own trauma and shit that she's going through right now. I mean, like,
That sounds like a skirt to me. Sounds like someone's not answering the question.
imagine like being transformed into like a whole new body, a whole new lifestyle. Like you are gone from like I don't know, in like the human world there, like what, 60 years is a good life, to suddenly like centuries, like a millennium, like.
But also keep in mind, Elaine was engaged. Like Elaine lived in a world where all the humans hated the Fae, and she was engaged to a guy who was literally like like the leader of the humans who hated the Fae. So for her to suddenly be one, that is probably really hard for her.
The world looks very different, and like surprise, like you've been like forcibly like essentially married to like a stranger who also was like involved in bringing you into this world and like betraying you and like shoving you into the cauldron. It's like
a lot.
She's got a lot of shit that she's processing, and so like exploring
Yeah.
like, a concept of a free will, like what does that look like with a mating bond? What does that mean? And like, does nature like get it wrong sometimes? Does it get it right sometimes? Like what? And like that again, like as a writer, I have to be like very. I'm like, I like to.
This is a really interesting take, you know, with her whole fated mate thing, because all of the fated mates that she's shown us so far, they're all like super in love, nature got it right, everything's hunky-dory, you know, sunshine and rainbows. And so I think it's really cool for her to explore with a couple, or at least try to explore with a couple, like, oh, what if it does get it wrong? You know, can we actually see up close and personal someone rejecting a mating bond, and how that, like, what that means for them?
Like find things that like make me interested. Like
No,
you
it's
get
very
mated to someone and like you don't want to be mated. I'm like, look, like what do you do? Like you're stuck with this person? Like what do you do? But like, I mean, the guy's like hot, but it's like, what if it's not? Like you don't know. Like it's something that like I really like find to be an interesting concept versus like Feyre and Nesta, where it was so easy for them. Like nature picked right. But
I was thinking also when we were talking about chapter 55 and all the things, like is it true that your grandmother reads these books?
oh my god, yes. I don't know what's worse, my grandma or my mother-in-law reading them.
Or your dad?
My dad at least has been like, we don't speak of this.
Okay. So he won't bring it up.
No, but like,
But does he read it all?
he used to. I feel like Silver Flames might have like broken him, where he was like, this isn't for me anymore.
Back to the newspaper.
Yeah, back to the New York Times. But yeah, my grandma reads them. Like everyone in her like, I know she wouldn't like the term nursing home, but like her like old people's community reads them. And so I'm like, are you all getting like frisky like reading this? It's like she's 95 years old. She's amazing. She is like my number one like icon in my life.
Oh my God.
But like she's gotten like all the people reading it.
Wait, did she ever give you feedback?
No, but then like on the opposite end of that, my mother-in-law has like grilled me and been like, are like the sex scenes in this inspired by you and Josh? And I'm like, yeah.
Oh my god. There needs to be a line, and that's not there for the mother-in-law. Oh my god.
When I'm like fucking.
Why are you interested in... I hate that so much.
Your son, I am writing down notes. Would you like me to describe everything for you, Linda?
She's like yes, actually.
Yeah, and I'm like
Linda, of course her name's fucking Linda. That's so funny.
no. I'm like, we don't talk about these things.
That is.
It's mortifying.
Wait, what are grandma and mother-in-law's favorite series?
I don't know actually. For grandma, I don't know. She's read like all of it, but like
on it.
I feel like my mother-in-law probably loves ACOTAR.
Does she love Rhysand?
Yes, I think she like pretends that it's like Josh, even though it's not. He's not.
She's like, oh, Josh. Josh is like,
No.
Mom, it's not me.
No, it is not. The number of times I've had to say like it is not. He does not. They both have dark hair, and that's it.
That's hilarious and so fucking creepy. Oh my god. The mother-in-law. I don't like, I'm scared of her.
That's it. That's the only similarity.
I think that's so funny because like I have had that where people, because I have talked about sex on my platform, people feel comfortable to come up to me and talk about sex.
Yeah.
Have you had any like really wild interactions where people are, whether they're asking details more about the character's sex or they're asking you about sex?
Oh god, I'm trying to think of what. I mean, like I had a mother come up to me, like a 50-something-year-old mother, and be like, I just want to say, like, my daughter loves your books and you've completely like revolutionized her sex life. And I was like, well, I'm sure she appreciates you telling me that.
You're like, amazing.
I was like, I love that your daughter, but I also was like, I kind of love that you guys have this dynamic where like you know about this.
Right.
I'm like, I think that's really cool, but also like I don't know what to say to you as the mother of this child who's
maybe though it is so
Yeah, that's like kind of fucking creepy. Also, I can't imagine discussing my sex life with my own mother.
There's a weird thing, maybe because it is fantasy, there is like, it kind of is it bridges the gap of just like episode 3 of Call Her Daddy, me being like, this is how you give head. And then like, meanwhile with like Rhysand and Feyre and Tamlin, all these dynamics, it's a little bit more like, yeah, like you can ease the blow when you find out that your mother or your sister or your friend is reading it.
Yeah, you know, like I actually learned probably more about sex from like books and stuff because it just seemed a lot less scary to me and felt like very safe and like connected to it, like things like plot in the world. And so like that was like how I like learned. Like I would not have like. So I think you're absolutely right.
Call Her Daddy is brought to you by Sephora. Girls, how many of us have woken up after a night out and realized
I hate these ads so much.
You're here for Call Her Daddy.
Yes.
But I need to ask you a pretty pointed question.
Okay, I feel like you've like asked me a lot of intense questions, so I'm very eager to hear what you could be.
Okay. I think we need to address your Instagram post.
Which one, Alex?
Well, Sarah, the one that quite literally lit the internet on fire, where fans could not tell if it was an arrow or if it was a 6 to 8. Like, everyone has been freaking.
It was an arrow, okay? I was convinced from day one that was an arrow. It doesn't look like anything else. But also, I don't have very good handwriting, so maybe I can read her handwriting a little bit easier. Like, she has reminiscent handwriting to my own mother's. And I, like, never for a second thought that it was anything but a fucking arrow. Let's just be real on that. So much.
Out. And so I have the pleasure of sitting across from you. And so I have to ask,
okay,
Sarah, what is going on?
Okay. Well, first of all, I guess I have really shitty handwriting. Like really fucking shitty handwriting. If my like arrows and like numbers look messed up, like I'm ashamed of this. Like that was not intentional at all. But I will say that was ACOTAR 6 with the arrow pointing forward to indicate like things going ahead of that. And it is for the next ACOTAR book, which is coming out on October 27th of this year. I've been working on that.
October 27th. We're going to be doing a reread on this channel of all the ACOTAR books before that.
It's been a long time coming. It's something that it took me a long time to write, just because there were enough things going on in my life that I had to like sort through, and I had to like, and again, like I will talk about that perhaps in more detail. I've already cried once today.
Don't make me do it again, Alex.
I don't. Yeah, like my makeup stayed intact. Let's not push it. But it's taken a while because it took me a while to find the right story and to be in the right headspace. And then like what poured out of me was this, and it poured out like very quickly. I was in Montana this summer, and like I don't know, like I think there's like some kind of like energy vortex like around Big Sky, because like I just got there and like it clicked. It all came out of me. So like talking about like deadline, like that's what I was working on. Like I've been working on like this next project. I'm not gonna tell you the title yet, but like it's or like cover any of that. But like I've seen some of it. And
can you tell us length?
I mean, it is. I mean, no, I don't want to say any. I feel like like it's long. It's long.
You can't tell us whose POV it's from.
It's long. It's long. We got a bunch of story to chew on.
No, and that was one of the like surprising things for me in like writing this and like what came out. Like you got a lot of like insight into like various things. Like it's
okay. Hold on though. Because if I know anything about you, there's always a plot twist. You've always got something also that's like, oh, you thought this, but also this. Okay. So is there anything else you want to share here on Call Her Daddy today?
Okay, well, part of why I guess it's tricky to talk about the length of this book is because this book's coming out October 27th, and then on January 12th, like 2 months later, I can't do math, whatever that is, the next ACOTAR book will be coming out. So there will be 2 books within like a very short span. And what that means, and giving you like a glimpse into this project, is just the story that was finally ready to come out of me was big. Really, really, really big. And as I started writing this in like this like Montana like energy vortex, like it came out of me in a way that surprised me. And by the time I reached like, I like to do like parts in like part 1, part 2, part 3. By the time I got to like the end of part 1, it was like 400 pages long.
That's pretty crazy. I'm excited for these books.
And there's a certain reality to books, like Kingdom of Ash, like had to be like 2 pages, because like the glue will not hold books together. But like what I was writing felt right. Like that was what the story that needed to be told. And so I decided I wasn't going to approach this project from a traditional format of a book.
This is actually pretty crazy for me to think about, the fact that like, so there is kind of a terminal length on books, right? Like there's only so much book you can fit in, like in most cases. I think the biggest book that I own, well, the biggest like fantasy book I own is probably Kingdom of Ash, but I also own The Priory of the Orange Tree, which is similarly large. I don't know, I feel like the publishing industry, do I have a textbook that's larger? No, I have a textbook that is a similar length. It's like an evolution textbook. So, it's interesting to hear her talk about like the constraints of publishing just based off of like manufacturing things, like holding that many pages together with glue. It's yeah, it's pretty interesting, and it makes sense why you kind of see books that like get up to 1,000 or so pages, but then like they can't really go beyond that without being in multiple volumes.
And what if this story, like, what if this book was
I honestly did not think that it was because of the glue. I thought that it was just because of the ease of use of holding a book, and then like the width of the binding and just like practical usability of it. Because I have like I've seen like pictures, they're probably not real though, of books that are like super tall, and then like if you want to open it, right, like you have to like hold one side of it because the other side is like long. Whatever.
really fucking long? Like, what if it took me more than 1,000 pages to tell the story that needed to be told, the arc that I wanted to create from start to finish? What if that took a long time? Like, what if that took beyond the constraints of a single volume? And what does that look like? How do I tell that story? And so part one was this huge, huge thing. And then I realized it was gonna be 4 parts, a book told in 4 parts. So then I wrote part 2 and part 3. And those were really fucking long. And so like, and then part 4 is yet to be written because I'm trying to just get part 1, which is out in October, and then parts 2 and 3, which will be out in January, is like one combined thing. So it's basically gonna be like 3 physical volumes, but it's like one thing altogether. That like no amount of glue in like any publisher's like factory could ever like hold this. So it's meant to be read ideally as like one massive story, as opposed to like like a trilogy. It's not a trilogy. Like arcs aren't like wrapped up. It's like in the way like, you know, you take my book, it's like if you expanded all of part 1, all of part 2, all of part like it would be huge like that. And so I just decided like I've never told a story that way. This is how it wants to come out. Why do I have to be held back by the realities of like the glue that we need to hold the pages in, or just like placement on a shelf? And like, how do I get this story out to my readers who've been waiting like so patiently, like as soon as I can? Like
Am I just sick? What this is like confusing.
I could not live with the idea of like publishing part 1 and then being like, you gotta wait like a year for like, I was like, no, like I want that in everyone's hands. And so that's why we're doing like this like back-to-back release. So there's gonna be like a lot of ACOTAR in a very short time. And then eventually like the conclusion will be like written like once I want to get these, like I don't want anyone to wait any longer. But it's like, it's a different, it's, you know, it's ACOTAR, but just I'm telling.
Wait, the conclusion? So is she gonna end it with her with part 4 then? Or is it the conclusion for just this arc? I'm so confused.
Telling it in a way that's exciting to me and like gives me like the space that the story demanded and the characters demanded.
Oh yeah, I'm trying, and I'm sure everyone's trying to do this right now. I'm trying to rack my brain around like every Easter egg you just gave us of like what story needs to be told, all of like the way that it's being formatted. But like I cannot wait for October. I am so excited that because the last time you came out was 2021 with the last ACOTAR.
Yeah, I think it was, God, oh my God, that was so long.
So
I know it's been, and that's why I was like, I'm not playing by anyone else's rules. Like this is like, I want, the most important thing for me is to write these stories the way they need to be told, but to also like honor my fans who like make all this possible. And like, I'm not playing by like industry rules. I'm not playing by like marketing, but I'm doing like what feels organic and like good for me and like my readership. And like, I want to do it in a way that's fun and like we can all like have a great time, like where it's just like the story will unfold.
I hope that it turns out as well as she's describing it.
Like in the way it like in the way that I feel like would be the most fun to like for all of us like come together and be like, oh, like what's going on? And like,
I am like, what the fuck are you doing over there? Like
there's a lot of scheming happening.
And what was it like coming back to the ACOTAR series and like writing and getting your head in this headspace?
It was obviously like hard. And again, there's like an element to it where I'm like, okay, like shit that was like tricky, like unrelated to the books, but related to the books that I had to like navigate and like figure out. And I wasn't ever gonna force myself to write a book because like that doesn't make a good book. But I'm also someone who like I take no shit from myself. Where I'm like, if I feel like I have writer's block, I'm like get your ass in the chair and work. But this was different. This wasn't like me like just like this was a level of like I needed to get some things sorted out first. And so this came out like when it was ready to come out, when I was ready, like when this right story hit me, like it hit me hard. And I had a vision from the start of like what it would be, how I would deliver it to you guys. And like, that's what I want to do. And like getting to be in the driver's seat and decide like, this is how I want to tell stories. And like, if I want to adapt it for like every new book or like just like arc, I can do that. Like I can do that, and like why not? Like why can't we tell? Like why do we have to like stick to like these boxes of like this is how you tell a story from A to B? I'm like no, like what if we do something different? Like
I am like, what are you up to over there? I can't. Oh my god, the theories are gonna go crazy. Oh my god, I'm like, what did you do?
well now I'm thinking that I'm just like I'm juggling editing
Yes.
2 books at once, 2 massive books at once. So I'm just like
You're in it.
that's why I'm like pounding like Diet Cokes and coffee.
Okay, well, we're almost done. We're gonna end with some rapid fire.
Okay.
And I don't know if you'll answer any of these.
Okay.
But I'm gonna try.
Okay, that's like super exciting. Okay. So yeah, this summer we can definitely expect an ACOTAR reread coming to this channel. So you guys should definitely like tune into that. If you have not read Crescent City, you should probably read that before the next ACOTAR books comes out. Before the next ACOTAR book comes out. It would behoove you to do that if you haven't read Crescent City. But also if you haven't read Crescent City, why are you here?
Okay.
Because I'm a fan. And I've got to try for the girlies out there.
Okay.
So shut me down, but shut me down easy.
Okay.
We're gonna start from the beginning. We're gonna start with
Okay.
Throne of Glass. What did Lorcan do?
Oh, someone explained this to me, like a couple months ago.
Mhm.
I don't know. I didn't know how to feel about it then. I don't know how I feel about it now. I mean, like maybe like bonus content and like
What?
surprise
Mhm.
Christmas present sometime for all y'all.
Okay.
Christmas special Lorcan content. Lord Lorcan Locan. Lord Lorcan Locan. Christmas time.
Where is Vaughn?
You know, that's actually a thing that I think about a lot.
Is he with Moore? Where's Moore? Well, we know where Moore is. Is he with Moore? Are they off doing something? Sarah.
A lot. And that's all I'll say about that.
Okay. Is the settling this
I bet that he is with like another universe. I bet he's like, oh my god, what if Bryce already met him?
same or similar as the drop?
I don't, you're asking, okay, let's skip, just go.
You're like,
damn
just say
it.
skip if you can't answer it. Why did Aelin have to lose her powers?
I mean, I do think that like, I actually really grappled with that one. Where I was like, I hate the idea of her having to give up something that she learned to love and embrace. But at the same time, like, I do think that like there needs to be some level of sacrifice when it comes to making a decision like that big to give up something that you love for something else. Like that's powerful. And I don't think the ending would have felt as deserved. But then I also think it opens up, again, in my like endless thinking about things, like just in me as her creator and writing this, like, what does it look like for her after that? You know, like you go from like all this power, then you give it up, and like, how does that feel? Like, I find that there was like, even with that as an ending, it felt like a different start of like a journey for me. That just like was fascinating for me.
I feel like people online have expressed frustration that some of the female characters, like her and Nesta, have had to sacrifice their powers and strength, while, you know, male characters have not. What is your response to that?
Like these books are about women coming into their power, and but also like taking away the
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Like these books are about women, you know, like of course they're gonna have the more interesting things to do. Like the men are like, yeah, they're important, right? They're the lovers. They are moving the plot forward in a lot of instances too. They're helping out a lot. Like they're full and rich characters within their own right. But like these books are very much centered on women. So it makes sense to me that they would have more things and more dramatic things to do.
magic doesn't take away from their strength. And I think like that's what like Nesta and Aelin was, is that like they're still fucking badasses. And I think that's why it's so easy for Nesta in the end, because she's like, this didn't define her. And she's
Yeah, I mean, Nesta never wanted to have powers. She never wanted this. She took them spitefully, right? So I'm not surprised that Nesta would give up her powers, especially for her sister, for Feyre, right? Aelin is a little bit of a different one, just because she knew and that was like part of her identity. So
still like
different.
she's still Nesta. And so like losing that like doesn't make you any less of a hero, doesn't make you any less strong.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, will we ever see our Throne of Glass
Snaps.
characters again?
I mean, obviously I think about them all the time, so who knows?
There's gotta
If
be
my
some.
children let me sleep in
Yes.
past 5 a.m., sure.
I think
Perfect.
about them
Kids,
too.
Come on.
I think about them too. Oh my god. I hope that you get so much sleep, Sarah.
Josh, get it together. Where's Manon now?
I mean,
Is she working to rebuild the waste? Like, what are we doing?
I mean, honestly, she should be in therapy.
Okay.
That's where she is right now. Let's assume she's in therapy because she went
No, she's rebuilding the waste. That's her therapy.
through a lot.
What happened to the world of Throne of Glass book? Will that ever be released?
That wound up being a project that I thought would be easy. And then I realized like, no, like I need to actually this means a lot to me and I need to dedicate a lot of time, but I don't have that time because I want to focus on getting these books, the actual books out. So maybe that's something that it's still something I want to do, but maybe it comes at a different time.
All right, ACOTAR.
Okay.
Why is there a pool of starlight in the spring court? Is it a portal?
Who thinks of
Oh,
these things?
You.
I mean, I do.
dude, it's Crescent City all over again. Yes, no, it's definitely a portal. It
I
has to
do.
be.
Look at that
People
face.
read too closely. I don't know. I'm not answering it.
Okay.
I'm not answering that.
Okay. How do Fae get
So it's definitely a
into the
portal.
House of Wind? Because they don't have wings. Like, do they climb the stairs?
This might be something that you find out.
Okay. What
I feel like they have to go up the fucking stairs, man.
is Rhysand's last name?
I'm not.
Or actually, no. Do you think that the house, like, if you need to go to the house just like, right? Because the house was like really working for Nesta. The house was like doing Nesta's work. Or no, they weren't. It wasn't doing Nesta's work. But the house was supporting Nesta in her work and in her goals and in what she wanted to do. So I could totally imagine if someone had business at the house or if someone needed to be there, the house would make it easier for them to enter.
Telling anyone. There's so much pressure now.
Does it even matter?
No, I mean, like, he's one of one,
Okay.
right?
I think that Reason's last name definitely matters from the way that she's answering this. Look at that smile. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this sly little smile. I feel like Reason's last name definitely matters.
What is the King of Hybern's actual name?
Frank.
Frank.
Actually, yeah, because
That actually might be something that
we could find out.
that is discussed.
Okay. What are
So that's definitely going to come up, and that's definitely going to be a big
Moore's
deal.
powers?
Like truth.
Truth.
But you like have
What the fuck is truth? Does she tell the truth? Can she only tell the truth? Can she tell if I'm telling the truth? Can she make other people tell the truth? What the fuck is truth as a power?
other powers beyond that, but I'm not gonna reveal any more about there might be more about that. Who
Hey, I'm
knows?
just trying to get things out of you.
Oh my god. So basically everything is going to be covered in the next books.
You know what? Everything is possible. Everything you're asking me
just believe.
right now could just be like yes. Yes.
Okay.
The answer is yes. You'll find out.
Okay. Can you tell us anything about the Dusk Court, and are you going to explore any of it in your next book?
Yeah, but you have to know. Like, what do you want me
She's just going to skirt every question.
to say, Alex? What do you want me to say here?
I love you.
What do you want me to say?
Okay. We're moving on. If anything, I'm just getting pleasure out of asking. You don't even need to answer.
Okay.
Tell me if I'm pronouncing this right. Where did Bri Axis go?
Good. That was good.
Thank you.
I mean, where do you think she went? What do you think she
She
is up to? I mean, fear itself. What is that like? Where does that go?
Who is
Yeah, where does fear itself go? I've seen some theories on who exactly Bryaxis might be. I am in agreement that Bryaxis could very well be someone that we've already met before from a different series. And especially now that we have she. This, like, I think that it could either be Kaltane. There is a lot less likelihood that it could be Lysandra. But I think that either Kaltane or Lysandra are very, very good options for who Bryaxis might be if Bryaxis is indeed not just an animal.
is Mama Archeron? Is she a descendant of the Iron Teeth Witches? You're putting me in
Is
pain.
there like an alcoholic drink here? I feel like that's what I need.
You're like, I need wine.
I need a spicy margarita.
Okay, we're going to Crescent City.
Okay.
We never saw the body, so is Cormac actually dead?
Where did you find these questions?
All of me and my
No, he's not. You don't have a
friends
body.
putting this together, be like, this is the time of our life.
I can like see you with like string and like putting things. I mean, like
My husband was literally like, what's
Dude, that's all of us. We all have string on some
this
level.
episode? I'm like, don't worry about it.
what isn't it?
No, exactly. Are Bryce and Hunt endgame?
Yes. What? I don't. Where does that?
No. Oh, I hate that so much. I don't think that Hunt is good for Bryce at all. I don't think that he is going to be comfortable with her being like Queen Faye and like doing her whole thing. I think that Hunt was really helpful and integral for her to get over her grief about Danica and about the wolf pack just in general, but I don't think that Hunt is going to be the person that she needs through the rest of her arc. Also, Sarah J. Maas, you have literally already admitted to us that you think that people should have like more than one relationship or multiple relationships before they like settle down with their person. So I don't see you giving Bryce a pass on this one.
How could it be?
Well, there are a lot of theories that Bryce's true mate is Azriel. Is there any truth to that?
No, I can tell you right. I'm sorry.
That laugh, I don't believe her. I think that oh God, I'm holding out hope. Azriel, give him a mate. If it's not Bryce, give him a mate. I like Bryce though. They'd be cute.
To anyone that's shipped that and has like been like ride or die with that, I'm like no, it's Bryce and Hunt.
Okay. How did the book
That pause though, I feel like she's lying to us.
Readings and The Walking Dead end up in Jessica's library?
I don't know. You'll have to stay tuned for
Okay.
answers.
There are a lot of theories that Reese and Rune
Yay.
are related.
Yay. Okay, we actually got a answer. Confirmed that we're gonna get an answer, kind of, for something.
Related. Can you confirm or deny?
Wait,
Like
sorry,
Sirius
what?
being dead end up in Jessica's library.
I don't know. You'll have to stay tuned for
Okay.
answers.
There are a lot of theories that Reese and Rune are related. Can you confirm or deny?
That is interesting. I can totally see them being related, especially because, like, yeah, like on some level, I feel like that with the whole, like, you know, moving around different worlds and stuff, I feel like definitely Reese's descendants probably went over and started Rune's bloodline. I think there's a lot of truth to that. A lot of precedent for that too. You know, look at this panic. See, look at this face of panic right here. She's been caught. Look at these eyes. This is fear. This is the look of fear.
You're like, fuck off. You can say fuck off.
I'm not saying that. I like you. I'm not gonna.
Okay,
say that
fair.
to you.
Is Maeve related to any of them?
I mean, like I feel like I should just hand over my notebooks to you, and you can like comb through them for like
Okay,
all the
okay,
little
they'll come
notes
back.
Maeve has got to be related to some of them. She's got to be
that I
related.
made. Yeah.
Okay, I have to ask, why are there otters in Crescent City?
Why aren't there otters? It's like their otters are one of my favorite
That's the better
animals. Like, I
question.
lose my shit. Like river otters, sea otters. I don't know why I lose it. And so I just was like, what's the cutest thing that like an otter could do? And it's like kind of like an aquatic, like, you know, like city. Like, what if otters were just like messengers with their little paws handing letters?
I love that.
I do love that too. You know, it's like, yeah, just a little pause. Like, here you go. I would, if I had the opportunity to make a fantasy world, I would probably have otter messengers too. That's really cool. And it's a cool way to do like the aquatic land kind of communication too.
Like, I just put it in there because I like
It
it.
just sounded cute to me. Okay,
Yes.
it just sounded cute.
Okay, who or what is Fury Axtar? Is she the mercenary that Feyre met in the first ACOTAR?
Okay, these are like again these questions that are like, you're asking me things that I'm not sure if I should confirm or deny or
okay.
just like,
Let people.
am I ruining people's dreams by answering these things? I don't know.
We've all seen the now deleted Twilight of the Gods Pinterest board.
Really?
What's going on there?
That was just like a story that I like. It was kind of like Crescent City, where like I always have like manuscripts and other stories in my head. Like, I think I have.
I wonder if she's gonna like come out with a 4th series at some point, or if she's gonna stay in these ones, because yeah, I think that it would be really cool to see. I mean, I like honestly, whatever she wants to put out and give us to read, I am very down to read it at this point. But yeah, I love it.
Probably like 3 or 4 like unpublished full books for like different series like on my computer that just like I don't know if they'll ever see the light of day, but like sometimes I just get a story in my head and like I want to start writing it and like I just like get like ideas for it and it comes out and sometimes I want to share that with the world and sometimes I don't.
Okay. Who would win in a fight? Bryce, Aelin, Feyre, or Manon?
They wouldn't fight. They would all be like, this is dumb. We should support each other and let's go get like In-N-Out burger together.
Okay, you obviously are in a success and like a league of your own. You've had just like such an incredible career already, and I know we've talked about the pressures and also the beauty of it. How do you define success at this point in your career?
I mean, for me, it's 2 things. Success is 2 things. One, it's getting to tell the stories that I want to tell, how and when I want to tell them. That's a gift. That's a wonderful blessing to have. That's all I ever wanted from when I was a kid. But it's also like, am I happy? Am I happy in my life doing this? Am I like, what is the balance? And like, do I feel successful in that? Do I feel like I'm able to create from a place of joy and curiosity and excitement while also having a life that is like fulfilling and fun? And like, I get to be a mom to these 2 incredible kids and like a wife to like an awesome husband. Like, and like what, like that, like having that and finding joy from that, from things outside of my books, that feels successful to me. Like I've built something beautiful, completely unrelated to that. But
I love that. I feel like that's the therapy paying off right there. Sorry, girl. I love that. I love that so much for her. That to me, that feels like she has so much peace inside of her own like heart and mind that she knows that no matter what, she has her family. And yeah, I love that. And I feel like that really bodes well for us as the reader, right? On a selfish perspective. Because like if she's happy, she's going to be able to do her work that she wants to do and she's going to be able to do it well. So like it's, you know, it's important, but also selfishly. I'm happy for that. I'm happy for me that she's happy.
Yeah, it is so beautiful. And also like what is so cool too is like you have completely changed the way that people think about romantasy books, and you have given essentially legitimacy, I feel like, to an entire genre that was either dismissed or overlooked at one point.
Yeah.
How do you feel about your legacy in the literary world?
this is going to sound like silly and you probably like won't believe me, but just like talking about things like legacy is like beyond for me. When I started writing, when I started trying to get published,
You
like, I
just
told
talked
myself,
about
like,
your. She talked about her legacy before, though, with the shows and her and these things as her contribution. Like, you already talked about your legacy.
you know, anytime I got a rejection, you know, I was rejected by every single agent except one, every single publisher except one. And those times I told
All
myself
you
it
need
didn't
is
matter
one.
if it took me until I was 90 years old to publish a book. If it wasn't the book I was trying to get published, I'd write the next one and the next one and the next one until it happened. And so like I was willing to have a life where like just one book eventually made it. And that still was kind of like, that was the dream. And so everything else beyond then has been insane, like insane to me. Because I'm still very much that like girl in middle school or high school, like sneaking off to like watch anime or like drool over Legolas and like getting to go like play in these worlds in my head and like do the thing that like makes me come alive every day is like, that's incredible. And so like talking about like these books going beyond that and meaning something and like playing whatever role they have and like letting other similar books like get out there and like be appreciated and those like authors be appreciated, like that's all. Like I just like I feel very, very blessed, very humbled. Like I love that people are reading, like people like
I feel like she's a girl's girl, or, you know, like an author's author, I guess, for saying these kinds of things. I think that that's really cool that she recognizes that her success isn't necessarily just her own. It's also opened up doors for other people to really enter this space and to be here with her and to give other people a chance at success and to be able to tell to be able to tell their own compelling stories. I think that that is really cool. To me, that reads as like girl's girl, and that is like, yeah, I'm all about a girl's girl. I love it. I'm a girl's girl.
I mean, as a kid, I just wanted someone to read my shit and be like, it's good. Like, that's all I wanted.
I also think it's such a great, inspiring story because someone like you, again, like a lot of times we get the success stories, right? You're sitting here and you're so well known and you've had such success. But a lot of people could be sitting right now watching this being like, I wanted to be a writer or I wanted to be whatever it be. And when you are told no so many times, that can be depleting. And the fact that you are where you are today, even though people looked at you being like, you're insane, this isn't going to work. You had people in jobs look at you and roll their eyes about writing fantasy, right? And look at the empire that you've built. Like, what an incredible testimony to women listening of like, if anything, I genuinely believe that when people are telling you that you're crazy for wanting to start something or do something and they're all looking at you kind of cross-eyed, that is like your first indicator that you're onto something incredible.
Anytime.
Oh yeah. If people think that you're insane, that means that you're doing something right. It means that you're doing something ahead of your time. Like, yeah, you can't just let people be like side eye you and be like, oh no, I can't do it. Like, yeah, I love that.
Anytime someone told me I couldn't do something, I would say, watch me. Just
Same girl, same. I am the exact same way. You tell me I can't do something, I will show you exactly how possible it is for me to do it.
watch me.
You said you're like, I'll sign the book one day.
Yeah.
Where are they now?
Yeah, where are they now? And just like, I don't know, like I wrote the thing that I love. Like I wrote the stuff that I love, that I've always loved. And like, I was always flabbergasted that anyone, especially like older adults, would tell like a young person, like it's not worth your time. It will never happen. I'm like, why can't we all be supportive of our dreams? And like, but thankfully, like I knew what I wanted. Like I knew this is what I wanted to do. And so there was nothing that was going to stop me from that. But I also was willing to like, if it took me till I was 90, that was just what I want. Just one book that came out when I was 90 years old. Like that would have been wonderful.
And look how many you have and more to come.
And more to come.
I cannot thank you enough for sitting down with me. I'm sure you can feel. I could have kept going. Like I have.
No, I could say I'm very comfortable right now. Like
I have
sit here
so
for
many
can keep
questions.
going.
There's so many like world building questions and character arcs, and I recognize I was trying to do a balance of getting to know you, also getting into your psyche, and I think we found a good balance of the themes in your life that have inspired some of these incredible worlds and characters. But it was really fun to sit down with you because I've been a fan from afar. And now getting to sit with you, I feel even more invested, weirdly. And I'm like, now I need to go back and read all of these before October. Well, no pressure.
Yeah.
I'm very
No,
glad
we
that I
definitely
didn't,
all
like, disappoint
do.
you, and you were like, she was the worst and like the most boring.
If anything, I don't want you to
cried.
leave. When we turn off the cameras, I'm like, oh, and one more question. Another question.
I'm going to Montana. You want to come to Montana
let's go.
with me?
We're
Let's
going to
go.
Montana.
Let's
Bye,
go. Let's go.
everyone.
I'll show you the vortex where everything.
Where you wrote it all.
Yes, I'll show you the magic vortex.
Sarah, thank you so much for coming on Call Her Daddy. It was an honor.
It was actually an honor. I mean, like we talked about like me and like all like what you have done. Like again, like my friends don't give a shit about me. I mean, like they do. They're proud of me. But like me coming on here, like this was a big, big deal for them. And like, thank you for making me feel cool.
You are cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm not really interested in this podcast, I've got to tell you. So let's go back to me. Hi. So anyway, that was my reaction to the Call Her Daddy podcast. So we obviously have a lot to unpack here, right? We will be slowly unpacking this and kind of discussing all of ACOTAR as we move through the ACOTAR reread. That'll be coming later this year. Yeah, let me know what you guys think about this interview. I think that it was really cool, really compelling. I'm so excited for what's going to be happening. I don't know if I'll ever watch this podcast again unless they have someone else that I'm specifically interested in watching on there as a guest, but yeah, that's just my own deal. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, if you have made it this far, leave a mountain emoji or an under the mountain emoji. I don't know. Leave any emoji that to you embodies ACOTAR as a series. the best. I would really appreciate it. Really help out the channel if you guys were to leave a little comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Christmas special Lorcan content. Lord Lorcan Locan. Lord Lorcan Locan. Christmas time.
She a little freak, she for the streets.